Who's starting?
Oh.
So hi, welcome to the PR podcast, episode 2. This is episode 1 on stream.
This is 3.
Thought we had episode 0 first.
No, true. Okay, that makes sense.
God, this is the most scuffed one so far.
Can we just
we're
start
back
again? Sorry, can I order a rescrap?
Okay, fine, restart.
Just a quick note.
No restarting. We're live, baby. We're live.
No.
Like a restart for the episode, for the YouTube vid. Cloudbug, make sure you hold push to talk for just a little bit after you finish speaking, because you're kind of cutting off the end of your sentences.
Okay. Alright. Who's gonna open?
Lottie.
Oh, so, okay, I'll just give a bit of silence now, so 3, 2. Hello everyone, and welcome to PRCast episode 2. We're talking about, part 2 of the Civ Battle Royale, never gonna give you up. We've got, Cloudberg here, Scissor, Lax, Luna, Day, and yeah, everyone say hi.
Hello. Lunar Needle here. Blue Cassette guy, you know me. I'm streaming. Yeah, normal stuff.
Hey everyone, Day here. Hopefully I'm a little louder this time. Sorry about that on the last episode. And if I'm a little quiet, it's because me and Scissor are still putting together the power ranking slides.
This is Laxoaxoriscal. I narrated this part 2. But I'm not narrating the next part, so I can talk freely about the civs and my predictions for them this time without trying to throw as much smoke and mirrors in as possible. So that's fun.
We have the unfiltered Lax today.
Oh, you better believe.
Lactose intolerant. There we go. I'll make my adieu. That's the whole stream, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night.
Okay.
Cloudberg, you next?
Yeah, this is Cloudberg. I guess I thought I was narrating part 3, but I'm not. I'm actually narrating part 4. So I don't.
Yeah, it's Explosive Watermelon's narrating the next part.
Apparently, oh my god, apparently it's actually a really, really good narration. I was reading through some bits that I could see. And there's been a little bit of changes from what EW has written down, or Explosive Watermelon. But like, honestly, it's really, really good.
Well, Melon tends to go quite lore heavy, which I like personally.
Yeah, I really like
Luna.
Some people like core stats and nothing else. But
oh yeah.
Luna,
I'm lifting up my volume right now.
Yeah, you saw that. Regarding actually narration, what kind of narration do you guys like the most? See, like, I think the most iconic is probably either Haiku or the How to Fight War's Good part. So, I think I like both of those. What about you guys?
I really like the Benkocha ones.
Oh yeah, I know the one you mean. That was obviously a very, very. I mean, that was obviously very well written.
It was. However, I really don't like that sort of narration because when it's too long like that. I kind of lose interest because it feels disconnected from what's actually happening in the picture. But also, my narration is not that good either because I've spent, after narrating like 10, now partially 11 marks of Groundhog Day, with each with 10 rounds that have 100 plus slides, it's not really feasible for me to write anything other than, calling out what's going on, and I try to work on that when I narrate CBR. But the first time I did it, I completely.
I think it's like you've made yourself into a play-by-play caster rather than a color caster, to an extent.
All right, there we go. I put on everyone else. Apparently, I somehow managed to destroy my sound card when I wasn't looking, so you might need a splice in the audio. Everything's good as of right now. Just leaving that as a little bit of a warning for those watching the VOD on Twitch. If the corrected video will be on the CBR YouTube, so yeah, sorry about that.
So,
Luna, I think you're still silent. Luna, you are still silent.
I don't know what I'm seeing.
This is great because
we can't
for all
hear
that, I've only just realised that everyone couldn't hear Luna. I've just been listening to him, just fine and dandy. And I'm just thinking how much of this fucking episode so far has just been abject silence for our chat. But oh well.
Yeah, I was able to hear Lunar fine.
On the
Yeah, I
board,
can
it
hear him.
sounds like-
Yeah. I wish I could find out. Wait, I'll pull it up on my phone. That's a good way to test.
Wow.
Oh. Okay, just continue. I'll
We'll
let
just
you know when
talk over
everything's
you now
good.
for now, Luna. We'll just talk over you so
Yeah.
people can't get bored and switch off. And
We have an
keep
agenda
people
this
updated
week.
with where you are.
This is Scissor, and I'm currently making the slides, so I'll let these guys do whatever they need to.
Yeah,
Mr.
we're
Richard
just
Richardson,
playing. We're playing for time here.
No, we should.
Okay,
we should
so what's
move
our
on.
first agenda item?
Well, yes. So
Oh yeah,
this week,
item without agenda.
this week we're doing things by a little differently again. We're doing things kind of we've got an agenda of topics that we're going to talk about, and they're all in order already. We have the list. You don't have the list, listeners. You just get surprised. But we're going to start in the continent of North America. If Luna wants to, while sorting his sword card out, sound card, sort of navigate to the North America region.
Yeah,
And,
I think with regards to like looking at your agenda, Lax, you've titled everything like it's a magazine article.
couldn't help it.
So this is just the observer content at this rate.
Yeah, you know what it is. We need to get Hand and Alka on here. So much juicy content. But yes, our first one is Canada. We're going to start with Canada and the Canada situation. So the Iroquois and the Poverty Point invasions. We're going to talk about their chances from now because, spoiler alert, but the power rankings aren't quite out yet. Canada aren't ranked very high.
Yeah, so I was looking at people like filling in Luna's words for him and wish chat.
Come on, guys. I think things are good now. I'm just talking right now just to verify. But yeah, Canada's in a really shit situation. Why'd you settle Montreal?
Hang on, Luna. One moment.
Yeah.
No, he's still silent.
Sorry, that was Luna just trying to justify the fact that he's made a really shit mod and it's really sad it got voted
Yeah,
in.
Luna was saying, I can't believe I made such a bad mod. I can't believe it failed so hard. He's
I
quite
can't
depressed
believe
about
they
it.
got conquered by literal guys who are in poverty.
But no, let's talk about that. Why did Canada go wrong? I mean, the obvious.
They went west too
culprit, I
far.
suppose. Well, yeah, the obvious culprit is pointing a finger at Montreal all the way over in Michigan and saying it was a mistake. But could they have seen that? Could they have seen that poverty point attack coming? I said last week, and obviously I actually knew last week, but I did say last week it seemed a long distance for poverty point to travel to, and I still think it was. I still think it's quite a weird place for them to attack, especially with the Apache just breathing down their necks. Could that move have paid off, or was it always inevitably going to fall?
No, I think it's probably fine if Poverty Point I think they've rolled a higher military bias than I've seen them do before. And they've decided, you know what, that city is basically empty. They're already at war with the Iroquois. And I think the biggest thing to take away here is that the Iroquois are the biggest losers, I think, out of this situation. Because they've lost most of their military now in trying to attack Toronto, because Toronto got settled in the middle, they attacked Toronto instead. Canada's military also got destroyed, and then Poverty Point actually get the rewards from it. But the Iroquois now have to deal with the fact that Canada will probably survive for at least a bit longer.
Yeah, I think you're right that Canada aren't going anywhere, and it should be noted they have a settler on the loose to Canada. A settler going what looks like east to Nova Scotia, which until the advent of navies should be fairly safe. So I don't think.
So Canada will. Oh, sorry. Canada's sending that settler like right past Onondaga to the right of it, which is kind of sketchy. But I don't think the Iroquois will be able to actually capture it. I think actually settling Montreal was the big reason for their downfall, because if you look at the terrain, Ottawa is in a very defensible location. It's really hard to get to. They have lakes between them and the Iroquois, and they have forests in every other direction, and they don't really have any other close neighbors. By settling Montreal, they drew the attention of other civs in North America. by sort of going straight into the middle. They had all this land that was nowhere near anyone they could have settled, and they didn't. And also, all that land is way more defensible. Montreal is just on the wide open plains, basically. They've got a river and a forest to defend, and that's about it.
They laid all their cards straight out on the table, like first move. They just went broke and they didn't pay off.
Yeah, I think you're all right. I think it's unfortunate because I like seeing ballsy forward sales and I like seeing them pay off. But I think they're very much a high risk, high reward. You can either settle like a big old Bloemfontein or Klerksdorp like the Boers did in Mark II, or to keep with the Mark II thing, you can do what Carthage did and found Hipporegius down in West Africa and immediately get declared war on and lose it a few turns later. And we'll get to some other forward settles later on. But the next thing I want to say related to that is I want to pick up on something you said, Lordy, where you said Iroquois come off worse than Canada. Do people agree with that? Do people think that the Iroquois
absolutely? I've just been so disappointed with the Iroquois.
The Iroquois come off very badly, but it's very hard to come off worse than Canada because Canada lost a city. The Iroquois didn't. The Iroquois have 2 settlers going out. Finally, it's late. They're gonna. This is gonna hurt them for the rest of the game. But Canada is. It's more like Iroquois have gotten a slow start. Canada has started by going in the opposite direction. If you're thinking of this as a drag race.
Canada have got a handicap. You said, I think Canada still have way more space now than the Iroquois, because the Iroquois are still going to be trapped into that eastern seaboard region for a while, although I don't put it past them to just go off and settle all of Greenland as well.
Someone said they wish someone wants a contrarian on the podcast. Just say that now Canada is just going to win us this. No, I don't think anyone is even that ballsy, to be fair. Canada are, if they were in where the UP were, there wasn't one. It's just the fact that they do have pretty good land, and the fact that they've got no northern neighbours because the Dorset aren't in this game means they do still have the space. And even if they've lost Montreal, and even if they did lose Toronto or something, they still have space. It's just northeastern Canada is such a dead zone.
Yeah, true. Mithridates says Iroquois are bugged. Never seen them not settle like that. It is. I will remind you, not the vanilla Iroquois. It's a different. It's a take on the vanilla Iroquois that changes it up quite a lot.
But they're still meant to settle a lot because their bonuses are literally from settling lots of cities.
Oh yeah, of course. So it's still surprising, but it's not. You don't go into this thinking that all the bonuses and biases, I should say, are going to be the same as vanilla Iroquois. They may well be. I don't know.
I actually have them all. Let me have a look.
Well, you go do that, and I think we will. I think we will move on actually to the next topic on the agenda.
Just one thing worth noting about the Iroquois, the new all the civs in general have received an expansion buff. It's in the extra PR tweaks. Everything's got higher expansion, higher water flare, higher
that's
build
the
army and stuff.
aggressive and expansive AI mod.
It's a different one. It's one of the version 4 CBR. It's a lot higher, right?
Sure. But don't worry, guys. It won't help Haiti. Anyway, right, it already has.
Haiti have their own special buff in it.
True. Moving on to the kind of second topic, staying in North America. I want to talk about the sleepers because I think more than anything, this continent at the moment has been quite static, quite peaceful, but for that kind of little Canada war. And I think that's I'm kind of wondering who I can pick out as the 5 sleeping giants of Métis, Yupik, Haida, Apache, and Aztecs. Not necessarily giants, but
calling those giants was pretty bold.
But of the sleeping civs, who do we think will bite first? Where do we think the tensions are going to start coming up? Because there's a lot of space there, but there's also a lot of civs. So it's inevitable that some spark will fly eventually.
Well, I think the Apache are so aggressive. They've got to get involved in a war, or probably next part, if I had to guess. But I don't think they can actually beat Poverty Point if they declared war right now. I think that would be a stalemate. So They might try. I don't think the Meidi are going to do anything, and I don't think the Aztecs are going to do anything. If Haida and Yupik went to war, that'd be nice. But I want to see Haida build its unique triremes, because once it gets those, it's pretty ferocious in coastal areas.
We've not seen any war canoes yet, which is interesting. I think it's quite interesting just how sleepy Haida was last part, actually. After a pretty good first part, which was pretty much in line with what we thought they'd do, pretty much down to the city placement, actually. They really did do nothing last part, and we don't expect them to expand much peacefully. They don't tend to found more than 4 or 5 cities in the early game, at the most. But it's interesting to see them not quite lean into that navy yet, and hopefully we'll see more of that next part. I think once they do have a navy, they will use it. That is what I would predict. Once that navy is up and running, I think the Yupik are going to find some angry letters coming to their doors.
Well, even that said, I think the only coastal Yupik city is the capital, because they've built mostly inland, which is
there's two.
They got 2.
City is coastal as well. Yeah.
Isn't it blocked off by ice? I'm not sure.
Oh, possibly. I'm not sure. Someone would have to check. Yeah, sometimes the Yupik build their second city in like Kodak Island or whatever it's called, which is just like a sitting duck for Haida at that point.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Yupik is that they've generally played quite central. They're not gone on these mad settles that we have seen occasionally in tests. They've stayed in Alaska, which means that Haida, I'm not sure. Is it possible Haida haven't even met them yet?
I don't know. Scouts.
I'm sure they've met, because Yupik had a scout that reached Meidi,
right.
and I don't see how they could have not met Haida along the way.
The AI, as I'm sure you can tell, loves the scouts. So I think it's probable that they've run into.
Yeah, I mean they just auto explore.
I've not seen any. I did scour the denouncements and friendships of last part. And they didn't have any interactions there, so I can't.
Yeah. But with regard to the sleepers, I don't think Metis have actually been in an AI game yet.
They have. Cloudberg, I'm sure you can tell me that they have. No, can you?
Honestly, I'm not sure they've been in VR tests.
I thought they were in a Groundhog Day. Were they not?
No, they haven't been in any Groundhog Day game. They may have been in some game that started and didn't finish.
Yeah.
Or something that someone was just posting on Civ AI games for fun, or in the Discord server. I mean, I don't know, but they haven't really been in anything major.
Okay, so they're kind of an unproven force. Although we do know from test games they tend to not. They don't like declaring war. They're okay being declared war upon, but they don't like declaring it particularly.
I also want to point out that apparently the script automatically gave Haida regular triremes to start with instead of its unique triremes, which is unfortunate.
It did that with Sulu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Sulu have started building proas now, so they are capable of still building the unit.
Yeah, that one proa in the Sea of Murmansk.
In the Tonga shot as well, actually. It wasn't the Sea of Murmansk, it was... Oh, wait, no, you're right. Wait, I don't think that is a sea name. I don't think there is a sea called the Sea of Murmansk.
Bay of Kola?
There's not. There's...
Yeah. It's just like the white Laptev Sea, right?
Above Chukotka somewhere.
It's like... No, it was above like... I think, do you know what? I think it was the Laptev Sea, if I'm going to get technical. I think it was around there.
Perhaps.
Where's that?
I'm fairly good on my North Siberian seas of all the fucking knowledge.
What's next?
Next after that.
Just regarding the sleepers, so basically, would you say that Metis are kind of like North American Sam?
Say again.
Are Le Metis kind of like North American Sami?
They're actually opposite Sami in many ways. They tend not to go very hard on tech, and they also don't build a big enough army to back up their settles, whereas Sami tend to go for high technology and have a much larger military than their expansion would suggest.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Also, Sami go very high faith usually, although we haven't seen a religion from them yet, which is surprising.
We're probably quite likely to get no idea of what that though.
Yeah, probably. I think if it's up to me, if I had to just guess on one war, I would say that an Apache war is coming. It's whether they declare it on Poverty Point or the Métis. And honestly, I'm not sure which would be a better option at this point. I think they definitely could beat Poverty Point in a fight. What's interesting about Poverty Point is that while their armies are about even, a lot of Poverty Point's army is up north, and a lot of Apache's army is kind of central and south. So there's every possibility if they went to war, they could even like flip a city off each other. But then I wonder what an Apache Métis war would look like as well. I'm struggling to kind of think which is more successful, which bodes better for the Apache in the long run. What do you guys think?
I think they just need to settle some more cities before they try to conquer anything. They should get a higher production base, and considering Poverty Point is probably not going to expand very quickly, that would be absolutely in their best interest to get the upper hand. That bias.
Fair cop. Can I just check that the stream is doing okay? Because
The stream is, but they can't hear me. Like no matter.
Okay, so the stream is still fine. It's just Luna's audio is still rip. Which is the big shame, but alas, the show must go on. And the show does go on to South America, where our next agendas lie. So if, again, Luna, if you could conjure up some magical images. We're going to start with the main topic of the day.
Aaron just quickly went with Sammy. Just told me they're producing 0 faith. So, wow.
Oh.
They used a great prophet from
So
Stonehenge, I think.
Are they producing 0
No,
faith?
Stonehenge doesn't give great prophet. It gives 5 faith per turn.
Hang on, are we talking about the Yupik or
Sammy.
the Yupik?
Sammy.
The Yupik built Stonehenge.
Yeah, so Sammy not getting a religion at this rate.
Yeah.
I'm just confused about them building 0 faith. That seems odd to me.
Yeah, that does seem very odd.
Seems very strange.
Yeah, I thought their UI gave them faith.
Yeah, I thought they got faith.
So they have to build their UI is not a true UI. It spawns by itself after they've built their unique temple replacement.
Gotcha.
And it does give faith, but they can't voluntarily build it.
In fairness, I don't think I've seen those improvements turn up.
Yeah, the Scyther
So
one.
far?
They're called.
Well, I'd keep an eye on that because that's a bit.
Yeah, they don't. I
curious.
imagine they don't have the tech to build temples yet. Only shrines.
True, but they not. But even then, why haven't they built any shrines? I mean, they normally get the first religion. So
yeah, I have no idea.
surprised.
That doesn't make any sense.
So I'd keep an eye on that moving forward. I mean, it's entirely possible they just rolled an incredibly low religious bias or whatever, but they can't even roll an incredibly low, -2. And then their other biases, like their expansions and stuff, were higher, and that moves the priority down. But at the same time, I'd keep an eye on that as we go forward in the future. There might actually be a bug there.
Yeah, it's strange.
There is. That's fuck all we can do about it now.
Reroll until we get no idea Vortex who won the icon.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Okay, let's move to South America, and so we're going to talk about the main topic of the day, and indeed the thing I actually picked for the title of the part, the Haitian city of Gonaïves.
Oh, wait, were you responsible for that horrendous pun?
Guys, I think that was quite.
You mean that fantastic pun?
The entire part was just littered with puns. It was
That's
obvious who was responsible for that.
I did all the titles as well as the slides.
I'm just disappointed. I haven't listened to the audio recording, but does Dawkins sing it to the tune?
No, I don't think he did. Alas, I don't remember now.
So, Lax, given that you're the singer here, you're the singer here,
I genuinely refuse, out of respect to Rick Astley, and respect to his work and copyright.
We can't get copyright if you singing a parody.
No, but I respect his intellectual property too much to debase it in that way. You know what I mean?
PR gets taken down.
PR taken down because of references.
Imagine being able to further debase. Rick Astley's never going to give you up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, fuck me. Anyway, Gonaïv. We were talking about Gonaïv. It is the Haitian city founded in Venezuela. Near Venezuela, I should say. In real life Venezuela, near the Civ state of Venezuela. And so we saw this at the last part. We kind of predicted what might happen. We thought Venezuela military might snipe in and take it before they even managed to found a city. That didn't happen. But then we all assumed Venezuela would swarm in and take it immediately. Well, that didn't happen because Venezuela got distracted by the Cuicaro, which is a suicidal move for them, in my opinion. But we'll move. Not talking about that right now.
Cuicaro,
What do we think
a
then
mouse.
about the last thing we saw of it on the final turn? Gonaïv was fully defended by all of its tiles surrounded by military units, which suggests that Haiti might be around to stay on the continent.
All right,
what do people think about their prospects?
Now's the time for Coyote to own up and admit that in the first 50 turns, he added 5 to every single one of Haiti's lines.
Honestly, I wouldn't be too angry. But yeah, I mean, it's a curious move, and it's the move, as I said, none of us thought would pay off. So it's fun to see that at least for a part they've clung onto it and seem pretty secure in it. But yeah, I think for me, obviously, it still depends on Venezuela. Do Venezuela still have a chance to just walk in and take it right now?
I mean,
is that easy?
Venezuela should, on paper, they should really be able to do that. Just produce units. They've got more cities than anyone else, like within a couple of 10 tiles, and yeah, they should. But Venezuela have looked like dog shit militarily. So.
I think the AI would actually struggle to take Gonaïv as it stands right now. They would need naval support, which they don't have, because it's on a hill. It's surrounded by rivers on all sides. The AI really, really struggles with that, especially when there are units around the city. And I think if they just kept at it for long enough, it would eventually fall. But it would do more harm than good to Venezuela. They need to build up army and navy more before they attempt to take Gonaïv. For now, I think they could take Nokugu, and doing that would not be bad.
No, doing that would certainly be good. But what about Haiti? Let's move away from Venezuela and move on to Haiti. What's their optimum moves from here on out?
They've looked good. I mean, just that's all we can really say. They've managed to do sort of every. Gonaïv is maybe like not the ideal settle, but they've looked alright. If they can like get a couple of maybe good cities in either the Caribbean or maybe further around the coast, they're pretty much set.
Well, yeah, that's the question. Do you think it's a better idea at this point to found more cities in South America? Do we think it's better to get the other big islands like Cuba, Trinidad settled, or even to put an outpost somewhere like Florida?
So I
don't think they should settle Florida. I think they should settle Central America because the Aztecs are shit. And also,
Yucatan.
They should just spam triremes and try to take, declare war on Venezuela and try to take Caracas like they did in that one test.
I mean, it's plausible, and it's honestly plausible. I mean, I kind of mentioned that in the narration that I almost feel, if I was being very charitable, that Venezuela could use Gonaïv as a kind of bait to get Venezuela to declare war on them while they haven't built a navy yet, and then Haiti would sweep down and take Caracas in like 2
This
turns.
This is filthy robot, like 10 million IQ multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the AI is capable. I mean, the AI is definitely not capable of that kind of strategy. But more than that, the one kind of fatal flaw in all of this plan is that while Haiti have somehow got together a fairly decent land army, they're really behind on navy compared to where they should be. They need some ships, and they need them quick.
Yep. And also, like, they've made 3 settlers, which is the most they've done in fight compared to most of their tests. They've usually high for them.
We've talked about where should they settle next. I would be genuinely very happy if they made another settler in the next 100 turns.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal situation is they somehow manage to, like, take Panama or something, or take a random city that's got a couple of coastal tiles, maybe even Caracas. But I think realistically, this might be just a slight peak before the big trough of getting absolutely run over by everybody.
Oh, my Twitch stream suddenly just.
Yeah,
started.
Luna
I'm restarting
reloaded.
it.
Okay.
Trying to fix it. We're just gonna rely on the audio.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, looking at the Quick cities, if they settled in like Suriname or French Guiana, like on that little like pointy bit at the end, they'd probably be fine because Quicker aren't that aggressive, and
True.
Uruguay's still pretty far away.
True.
What we know about that area from the test suggests they will lose those cities to the Selknam.
Yeah, possibly. Well, we're going to get on to Selknam now, actually. I think that takes us really nicely on to our next topic on the agenda, which is Uruguay and Selknam. Last time we talked a little about how disappointing Uruguay had been relatively and whether they would kind of bounce back into being the very expansive Uruguay we know from the previous tests.
We know and hate,
the infamous Uruguay, if you like. And indeed, Uruguay did expand quite a lot this part, so we were sort of correct there. But yeah, what do people think the situation is with the Selknam and Uruguay currently?
I still don't get how I don't get how Uruguay is still like number one in the region. Well, I guess maybe now, but y'all have so much faith in them to be these monsters, despite the fact that they have been nerfed into the ground. I've had a look at the code, and y'all have butchered Technostar's creation. But I think Selknam and Nazca at this point have the opportunity and are doing basically all the right things to keep them in check. I would be surprised if Selknam were able to take that forward step.
Well, this is the thing. While while I don't doubt that they could, it becomes a question of whether they would. I just still think the Selknam are too pacifist, too disinterested in that kind of life. They do have a settler out, I should say. They didn't settle anything this turn. We did find another settler in the sea outside Chile, and I will say that of all the places to settle, Chile is a really, really great one for them because actually it's just kind of shut off from the Uruguay through the mountains. It's going to be very, very difficult for Uruguay to get through.
Personally, I think
a naval attack, they've got to put the navy all the way around the Horn of Selknam, so that's pretty safe too.
Personally, I think the settler is headed for Point Nemo in order to settle settle Relier.
But just placed Aurelia.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Selknam may be not concerned with the wars and settlements of mortal humans. They may consider Paysandú beneath them.
Yeah, Paysandú is like a city of humans. They probably haven't even noticed Uruguay.
No, they need to we haven't got JFG's prisoners of war on, so they can't capture the citizens. So there's no point.
The settlers are sacrifices to really.
Yeah, I mean that's what Paysandú will be. They've got a statue of Zeus, so they can more effectively go and sacrifice population.
Yes, they did build the statue of Zeus, which is something I wanted to point out. Actually, thank you for reminding me. I'd forgotten. Statue of Zeus was one of the best early wonders in the game, and Selknam managed to nab it. Do we think that'll? How much do we think that will help them? Because I will say, again, while it is a great wonder, Mark II it was got by Sri Lanka, and they made absolutely no use of it whatsoever. So it's not an instant winner.
I mean, Sri Lanka also weren't in any wars at all until the end game.
Yeah, well, they had a couple with the Mughals.
Uruguay might be in a war. Selknam might be in a war with Uruguay fairly soon.
True. We'll see. Uruguay are under the Blancos currently, so we can kind of expect them to be moving in a more military-based direction, although they change every 30 turns or so, so I think they've only got about 10 turns left of Blancos before they go back to the cultural
What's
Colorado.
the origin of Blancos and Colorados? Because the fact that they are just the whites and the coloreds is just... I hope there's a good reason behind it and it's not just white.
God, I don't know. Technostar will tell you what. Techno, I think, is going to be joining us in about 50 minutes, and he can tell us all about it then.
We can ask whether his mod is racist.
Well, no, I think they are the parties. I think they are the genuine names of the parties.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm hoping that they have a good, rich historical basis and not in segregation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's not segregation. Certainly not segregation. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know that much about Uruguay. I think Uruguay generally, their history has been generally okay though. I think compared to every other South American country, I think Uruguay have had it all right. I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Certainly better than the other guy. That's not really a hard competition.
Flashback to Solano Lopez and declaring war on Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina.
Oh man, it would have been hilarious if Solano Lopez was in this game.
Yeah, he's fun.
I love Solano.
Okay, he was kind of disappointing in Groundhog Day because he immediately denounced everyone, got declared war on by everyone, and then actually fairly consistent with what really happened. He just got slaughtered early every time.
That's the thing. GHD isn't a good stage for the Solano Lopez mod because it's one of those mods that likes to just get everyone annoyed at it quickly. It's a bit like, sorry for the what's it called? Godwin's Law. Sorry for the Godwin's Law. It's a bit like Hitler.
Lunar, did your Twitch chat just go down, or your Twitch channel?
Yeah. I have to like completely kill the application. There's something going wrong.
Oh, so we should.
So just continue. We're gonna use the recording, so technically it doesn't matter what I say, but
yeah, we could just.
I'll be back.
We could just talk about nonsense for half an hour until for
a
couple of minutes until.
Well, no, I think you're talking about what about Solano Lopez. Is that as a player, he's got some really cool stuff.
I don't know shit about the Solano Lopez mod, to be honest.
I remember correctly, it's to do with like you can destroy either units or buildings to get more production in war.
Sorry, just one thing. Amsterdam, can you mark where this is in the recording so we can cut this bit of audio out later?
Sure, we are at about 36 minutes in the recording.
Cool. So, yeah, we'll go to that.
This is the unreleased edit. This is the stuff we had to like edit back in because it was too spicy to be told live.
What else was talking about? Yeah, the thing about GHD Solano Lopez is that he starts right in the middle of everyone, and it's like Mark II Hitler. If you're going to get annoyed at everyone, you need to have a fairly decent living space to begin with, otherwise it's not going to work.
A fairly decent Lebensraum.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was.
Oh god, we've become Hitler again, haven't we?
I don't think. I don't know. Again? Become Hitler? I'm pretty sure this is just me.
Oh yes, sorry. Mike's our favorite Hitler crossplayer.
I have to say sorry for this. I don't know what the fuck's happening. My entire OBS is basically corrupted. I'm just repairing everything that I can now and just resetting everything to default. Thankfully, I show up right now on the recordings, but the stream got absolutely fucking dogpiled. Really sorry. I thought everything was right. Of course it isn't.
Aww.
I'll be back.
That's okay.
In a minute. Yeah, I'm quite upset right now.
Honestly, it's fine. It's really, really not a BD. Just shoot us a line when it's all going back online. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna 100% guarantee that everything's good, and then I will clap us back in, and we'll continue.
Yeah, awesome. We'll tune back in. I'm sure people can wait. What would be good is if we launched PS now, but I don't know how far along you guys on the phone.
I'm a little bit over halfway through, and Amsterdam is following up on from the other side, so we're going to be meeting.
Yep, I just finished the Tongu, and Tonga's finished, so I'm going to start the S's now.
Awesome, we should get it out. Should get it out by the end of the night then.
I'm very sorry that I'm not being able to help with that because I don't have Photoshop, I just have GIMP, and GIMP is absolutely stupid when it comes to editing images and text because it's apparently meant for just photos.
It's fine, man.
Yeah, GIMP is useful. I mean, GIMP is. The issue isn't GIMP. I think the issue is .psds on GIMP. Like you can definitely edit through layers and with text and stuff in GIMP. Just not when it's
coming from a PSD. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing it's the transfer from a Photoshop file because basically a Photoshop file has more information than just a than a regular GIMP file.
XCF is the one GIMP uses.
Yes, yeah, that's the optimum one. I've used both GIMP and Photoshop in the past, and to be honest, they're not that dissimilar in terms of the basic mechanics. Photoshop just has a bit more bells and whistles and features, basically.
and it's just nice to use. GIMP is hell to use compared to Photoshop.
They're different. I actually got really used to GIMP, and then found myself trying to wean myself back onto Photoshop, and found it really difficult.
Honestly, if I like, because I was using Photoshop for I used my free trial just to do some icons for Civ. It's been so nice. Like the stuff with GIMP, I not use it enough to be fluent in it, so to speak. Whereas Photoshop, I found just really intuitive, user friendly.
Yeah, I get you.
Slower controls in Mario Kart 8 compared to like Wii.
Wait, which one's the intuitive one there?
Mario Kart 8, obviously.
That my microphone's working.
Okay, Luna.
Yep, I think we're good.
Yay!
I think we're good. I just need to mess around with two things. I'll pull up the browser source. ETA 2 minutes. Sorry about this.
Okay. Oh, ECH
Yes.
claims that the Colorados aren't racist, they're just red.
Luna, we can hear you. We can hear you on stream and on Twitch, I believe.
Yay!
Oh, what?
I literally had to nuke OBS. All I set was a push to talk, and that completely corrupted my entire settings. That was it. Just push to talk, and then
Dang.
destroyed OBS.
What's the Selknam UU? Because I've got it.
I have no idea.
Other than, of course, like a Cthulhu cultist.
I'll get it up in a sec. Just give me one moment. Un momento. We'll look this up and then we'll start the podcast up again. Today, what timestamp are we on now?
We are currently at about 42 minutes, so we have about
Okay, so
6 minutes to cut out.
It's about 36 through to 42, or probably about 43 once I've loaded this bleeding
Oh,
cell.
Luna, I think you've turned the 15-second delay off.
What do you mean the 15-second delay?
Like, each 15 seconds, like, the stream be 15 seconds behind live. I think you might be in, like, low latency mode or something, so we're very close.
That's
to
odd.
chat.
That must have been Twitch
Does-
side. I mean, I don't
Does that
mind.
matter though?
I don't.
No, not really.
I mean, I
the
don't
other
mind.
thing-
That's just
The other
odd.
thing is it might, like, make your internet a bit worse, don't know?
So the seven
I'm not
you
seeing
use-
any negatives here.
The Selknam you use is the Kamal. The Kamal is cheaper and stronger than the usual Spearman, and it can also move after a... So it's kind of a skirmisher,
Yeah.
which is not particularly useful in their terrain. I think I mentioned that actually in
It'd
Seems
be
remembering
really
that
good.
now.
I mean, as a player, it'd be, like, really good against barbs.
yeah, that's basically it. Anyway, let's start rolling again with where we left off, which was Selknam and Uruguay.
Yep.
But I think
Okay,
we pretty
we're
much-
completely ready to start recording. Sorry,
sure.
recording now.
I think
We back.
I think we pretty much wrapped up with what we were talking about. So if we will probably cut some of what just happened out, but just to give anyone listening to the YouTube thing context, we just lost about 6 minutes of time to a little stream mishap, but we're back rolling now.
I mean,
anyway,
I think
we've
we now can release a director's cut of PRCast as well as like the final version.
no, guys, that is a Patreon exclusive.
Patreon
ever.
exclusive, boys. I'm sorry. What do you think we are? This ain't charity. We are doing
Exactly,
this because
like,
we love this
we're
thing
getting
so
paid.
much that we'll all interrupt each other to mention the exact same thing. I mean, what?
What?
Speaking of which, I think we're done with Selknam and Uruguay. I'm gonna say let's because
Yeah, I
want
mean
to.
Uruguay good, Selknam cultist. That's
There you go. There's your summary.
They're
guys.
both great. The end.
Also, Colorados are not racist. They're red.
Yeah, Colorado, I guess it technically means colored, but it usually means red colored.
Oh, also, you think that's oil next to Cowways? No, that's the shadow of the beast in the deep. And the asshole again is just like the tentacle. All the old dogs.
We're going to move on to Europe now. And our main agenda of the European continent. We're talking about the rise of the Germans. Not for the first time, actually. If you were
Oh, God,
somehow
become
listening
Hitler
to the
again.
6-minute outing. We're talking about the rise of the German civs, specifically Prussia and the Holy Roman Empire, and kind of in relation to that, the decline of Czechia. In fact, let's start there with Czechia, because I think of all the things that we talked about in our last power ranking podcast, and indeed in the power rankings, I think Czechia was the thing we were most wrong on. Am I okay in saying that?
Not really. I think most, I guess, didn't age well, but at the time it looked fine, I think.
Well, I don't know, but we were kind of basically saying, oh, this is a really good spread of cities for the Czech Republic, which they will be able to defend, and actually they became very spread out and very difficult to defend when they got declared war on in multiple sort of directions. But even before that, when it was just the Ottomans at war, they still looked like they were going to lose Ostrava. Even then, or at least I thought so. Obviously, they didn't lose Ostrava in the end.
Yeah, they haven't lost it. So
they did manage.
I think it is just like Pilsen was an absolute feed. Like, there's no way they're keeping that between.
Yeah, it was a bad settle. I think I mentioned it at the time. It's kind of on the wrong side of the Oder. It was very, very open for Prussia just to walk in and go yoink. And it would be quite actually defendable for Prussia now, because of, as I say, where it is on the.
And the fact that we don't have a Baltic power, which is actually something quite interesting.
Well, Prussia, kind of a Baltic power.
Last game we had Sweden, we had Finland, and we had we would have had Poland ideally, and even Germany. Now we just have Prussia. They're basically unopposed in the Baltic.
We'll see what Vikings and Sami do yet. But anyway, also what did you think about Czechia? Because you're quite a big fan of that of their AI.
Yeah, so they're not out of the game, but they have suffered a very serious setback, and I have no confidence anymore that they are going to be the European power they easily could have been. I think at this point I would be surprised, but not knocked off my feet if they made some sort of comeback. But it'd be an uphill battle for sure. Prussia is just doing much better than expected. HRE is doing better than expected. And all of that is just bad news for Czechia.
HRE, I don't know about you guys. HRE has quickly risen to my going to take over the continent if it wasn't for the Sami tier, which is its own independent tier that totally exists. I just am seeing absolute unit plays. As a deity with deity bonuses in a human position, they are near that tier. I can honestly see them pressuring and taking out Prague within episode 5. Like, I see huge things from them, and to rank them anything lower than top 12 is a fool's errand, in my opinion.
Whoa! I think we're going
to top 12. Okay, that is bold.
No.
Top 20 maybe, but top 12.
I still think Prussia is better than they are at the moment.
Ooh, harsh disagree on my end, but I guess that's my opinion there.
Big agree, boy. Big agree.
I think they're both about even, and my personal rankings. Obviously, we're not saying what the actual rankings are at the moment. Somewhat unorthodoxly, we're doing this before the power rankings have been released. But my personal rankings of both civs were in the 30s. Because here's the thing: yes, they've both settled well. They've both got a nice, 5 or 6 city base. Great. But unlike civs that are even, behind them, like the Kazakhs and the Apache, for example, or even civs on a similar level city-wise, like Uruguay, they've run out of space now. That is it. I was looking at a Prussian settler later, and actually it's going to have to settle around Muscovy probably to actually get another city out. There's a space for one more city in the Ukraine, and then that's it.
So because they can settle cities so close together and will do so regardless of whether it's a good idea, they actually there are even locations in between Prussia and Czechia, like in that gap, that are settleable. And
true.
I would not be surprised if they did it.
True, although you kind of hit it on the head there a bit whether it's a good idea or not, because I do think they risk stifling each other so much that, as in Mark II Europe, we're going to see a slightly outside power eventually sweep through and just demolish them all one by one.
Yeah, I
whether
think
that be the Sami, whether it be an African civ,
Wars, maybe.
from Asia.
the issue is that because there's less people, there's not going to be a powerhouse. Like Sweden managed to, they didn't get big that fast, but they managed to get a huge advantage by taking out Germany. Sparta got an advantage from taking out Rome, etc. Ireland from England, and then Iceland from both of them. Here, we actually might almost end up with a four-way split in Europe, like you were saying, which will make it really easy for someone just to roll them.
Yeah. And we should also, I suppose, as people are now talking about them in the channel quite a lot, we should also kind of roll the Moors into this as another civ that are currently exceeding expectations, kind of. Although, again, to me, they're really meeting them. I don't really see where the Moors go.
I think they're meeting expectations for me. However, my expectations were higher than yours, which is interesting.
Yeah, there you go. See, my expectations are pretty rock bottom.
I think they still have areas they can settle. They have Western France, northern, mostly just Western France, actually. But after, if they put 2 cities in there, they're good. They could start conquering, and I think they will.
Yeah, I think the other thing we have with the Moors is that they're not going to be able to settle the Isles because Man have been unbelievably they've managed to settle a good portion of Britain. Moors might, as you said, only have in France and maybe the Balearics, maybe southwest Portugal. I think there's space for a city, but I think that's it.
Well, let's actually use that as a good transitioning point because I think we're pretty settled on the German civs now, and our next topic for Europe is the British Isles, the Battle of.
Actually, I just want to say something before we go on to Britain.
Such a classic PRcast move.
Yeah, Ludi refers to the Chad placement of Murano, and I agree with that. Venice, this game, Venice are playing.
This is the Venetian third city for those just listening.
Yeah, because Venice didn't get a slide, but we didn't talk about Venice. We'll have one sentence to Venice, and that they're doing better than we expect.
I disagree.
Incredibly low bar.
Yeah, that is true.
I also don't think they're over that bar. I actually think they're going to be screwed if they don't settle the Italian peninsula in next part.
I think they're screwed anyway. I think
I think Murano is just going to be the first city in France that gets taken by either the HRE or the Moor.
Yeah, either could take it. Anyway, I do want to move on, I'm afraid, to Britain, to the British Isles. We had our first War of Britain break out right at the end of the last part between the Manx and Scotland. Scotland were the declarers and probably had the bigger army, but the Manx were fielding the slightly more technologically advanced one with the spearmen. And they also had 2 cities, not just the one.
3.
Sorry, I should say 2 cities on Britain.
Yeah.
Not just the one, because we see this fight happen quite a lot in tests, and but normally the Manx only have Douglas down there in Wales, Bristol area, and the Scotland are able to kind of overpower it over time. But 2 cities is a very different dynamic. What do people think the chances of a Scottish takedown of the Manx are?
I would say low. I think.
I'd agree.
I don't think Scotland is going to be able to get across the gap to Castletown, and it looks to me like they're focusing their army on trying to take Castletown. They're not even going for Douglas or Peel, so they're going to get bogged down. And then the Manx are going to settle Ireland, and they'll have 4 cities, and Scotland will be sitting at 2. Well, it'll be 3 soon, probably. But they're just going to they're just going to blow their lot early, and then the Manx will have the long run advantage, unless the Manx really cock something up.
Which I wouldn't put past them.
Yeah. See, the only reason I have faith in Scotland right now is because I'm just really, really, really hoping that the Manx absolutely shoot and miss. Because I think Scotland have an outside chance of taking Castletown as it stands, because quite simply, Manx have nothing around it. They've got no units basically. They've got two archers in shot, a warrior, a spearman, and a trireme, and the archer in Castletown itself.
So the thing is, with Castletown being on a one-tile island, Scotland doesn't really have any ships yet, and so they would need to embark a military unit. And the moment the AI starts embarking things, it's their strategy that's already bad gets even worse. And so anything that Scotland embarks in there, the Manx can kill in one turn with City Bombard plus 1 archer, or even just City Bombard by itself.
Actually, on the topic of that, I don't think Scotland can actually embark. I don't think they have any sea tiles in their area on that side of the island. So.
Well, don't they start with the ability?
Yeah, I feel like
if a unit enters a tile after learning optics, they gain the promotion that allows them to embark from any tile, regardless of it being friendly or not. I think the previous embarking in friendly territory was gods and kings exclusive. I might be wrong on that.
Oh, that sounds about right. I mean, it used to also be. I remember it very vividly that in the vanilla expansion, in the vanilla original, every single embarked unit had 0 HP, so it just died immediately, which was hysterical.
No, that's changed. That has changed.
Yeah, that
changed in the expansions. I'm saying this was in the vanilla.
Yeah.
But and it also that was Songhai's original ability was their units had HP in water. They didn't get killed immediately, and it made Songhai unbelievably overpowered. On like an archipelago map, it was hysterical.
Yeah,
you could just like sweep the world so easily because basically you just built settlers and no one could stop you.
Yeah, I still think.
In my opinion, the Manx and Scotland war is going to be determined entirely by the AI of Robert the Bruce, not really the actions of the Manx. I don't really see a lot of ways that they could defend a well-executed plan, but at the same time, I don't see a way that Scotland can win, regardless of the amount of units they bring to the front, a poorly executed plan. I think it's purely on the AI here.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
We should say as well, I think that'll do us for the British Isles, but just as kind of an added bit of context, the Manx do have a settler in Ireland right now, so we do expect to see
Scotland,
Ireland be settled very soon.
Did Scotland settle that third city in the island? I don't know if they did settle it, but
Scotland haven't got third city out just yet. They're on their way.
They definitely got one settler in the Highlands. I think they might actually have another one embarked, but I'm not sure. I didn't see it.
I can't honestly remember. Anyway, we're going to move on now to Africa. And our main topic of the day is the Ascendant Songhai. Does anybody want to lead proceedings?
Oh, just a quick thing from Aaron, the stats man.
Oh yeah.
Manx are third in production
Yes, I
in
heard
the
this.
cylinder.
I remember this. There's island civs have been weirdly high in production. Actually, I wonder if it's something to do with one
Lighthouses
of their early
probably.
techs.
Man
Does that
got
give production? Does Lighthouse give production?
Lighthouse gives production on sea resources, which
in addition to food.
In addition to food, yeah.
And
They
obviously, a lot
also
of the
grow
island civs
huge.
start with a lot of sea resources nearby because they need something to start nearby. They need some resources. So, yeah. I think that's why that is. But yeah, I mean, that's great, although I don't think it will last that long. I think the Manx will soon be overtaken. And obviously, a lot of that production was going into the Great Lighthouse as well, which I forgot to mention. They grabbed the Great Lighthouse, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Fine. It's good memes. I'm not sure how.
If they get a naval army, if they say that man just like reverse sweep Scotland, then you might be looking at a very strong man navy where they can just yeet triremes all the way around Europe. But I'm not sure what happens.
Yeah. Good luck. Let's move on to Songhai. Now,
Algeria was the topic.
Sorry?
The topic you had in the agenda is actually just like what happened with Algeria.
Oh, okay. We'll do that first then. Algeria. Sorry, Luna.
Rip.
Algeria, our good friends Algeria. They had a very, very busy part last turn, which came as a bit of a shock to me.
Actually, let's be honest. The Constantine Songhai front is the highlight of Algeria.
There's things going on. The first is
the highlight is Mascara.
Your Mascara is great.
Ah, baby, that's a good city. Oh my I'm done.
I knew about that one already because I made the sick list. I made the sick list, guys. Did I mention I made the sick list?
No, he didn't lack some.
Do you know Lax City list, guys?
Guys,
Yeah,
everyone,
lack list.
everyone should know I made the sick lists, right? They need to know. The people
You
must
put
know.
the town I'm in 40th on the Scotland one. I regret
It's 60th.
telling you that I made 60th. I just have to hope someone caps and they start using other city names.
Yeah, well, it could happen. It could happen, genuinely. Anyway, Algeria. The first things first, they got the second religion. From memory, it's fine. It's a fine religion.
Yeah.
Does anyone have the? I do have the. I should have the beliefs to hand because I've got the.
Blessed be the cheesemaker. They got Blessed be the cheesemakers. They got the one that's not mandate of heaven. Let me check. Yeah, Blessed be the cheesemakers, treasury mandate, and faith healers. So they get +1 in production and food from farms, I believe. Oh, maybe it's cattle, and they get extra money and they units heal in friendly territory.
Faith healers is handy. I thought you were joking about Blessed be the cheesemakers. No, that is the name of the belief. Okay.
Yeah, it's Luna's religion mod.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what kind of cheese you're getting in Algeria.
I guess it's like cattle or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe
I associate goat cheese for some reason.
Yeah, cattle to sheep. There isn't a goat resource, sadly.
New CBRX season 2 resources: goats, old gods.
Goats would be quite good because you could have you could extend it to llamas as well. Although are they more sheep?
Alpacas. So what we're doing, the cultural diversity resource edition.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would love
that's exactly
that.
what I was thinking.
I would love that. I would love one that because the continents are built into the game, the
Yeah,
American
based on continent, you have
that.
different time. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, have sheep be skinned as llamas in.
It's very easy to do via map gen. It's incredibly easy to do. You just have to make a duplicate resource that won't spawn in, obviously with different graphics, and then you just have it on map gen to set it as the specific resource.
Yeah.
Good example is bison and cattle. That's how they do it.
Yeah. You see, that would be great.
And
someone
then
should
buffalo
make,
for
someone should
Asia, for
genuinely
cows
make
and
that.
stuff.
That's a challenge from me to all the modders listening.
Yeah, we had JFD in chat a bit.
I guess you need some good art. You need some good art boys on it too, I guess.
Yeah, I think who genuinely though regarding 3D modeling, because I mean a couple of those guys here mod.
Sick attack.
Who does 3D models anymore for Civ?
I know Silk attack used to
Oh,
do it.
Sig did it for Civ 6.
Suk did it for Civ 5 and so did Lugi.
Lurgy? I don't know.
Luigi. Leugi.
Leugi. Anyway, we're
South
getting
American dude.
Lurgy.
Lu-
We're getting fairly off topic. Let's go back to Algeria. It's a pretty good religion. Faith healers is handy. I like faith healers. It's certainly better than most beliefs.
The issue is that it doesn't apply to Constantine or Tlemcen or Mascara yet because
Tlemcen.
the religion.
They need a religion there
Not yet.
for it to actually work.
Yeah, they don't have the religion hasn't spread.
No. I mean, this is for the future. I mean, the religions generally kind of start very slow and then suddenly spread really quickly. Although the question is actually, will Sunny just completely overwhelm it before it gets a chance to start spreading? I don't know yet.
Yeah, take a good look at a lovely Nestorian icon because it's going to be gone soon.
Well, we'll see. I think you could. I think they could spread it to Spain and Western Europe pretty easily. But we'll.
Yeah, talking about religions, Aaron did a stats thing on who's getting a lot of faith in them. I'm going to have a look at it. So yeah, the likeliest. So who has religion now? We have Libya, Algeria, Yupik, Evenks, Sulu. Is that it? And,
Ching.
Ching. That's 6.
There's 7,
then-
so you've missed one.
7? Oh, Bogomilism. Who's found a Bogomilism?
Sulu, that's Sulu.
Oh, I don't know that.
Go through the list again.
Hang on, I've got it here. Libya, Algeria, Evenks, Seljuks, Sulu, King, and
Seljuks,
Yupik.
that's right, Seljuks. Seljuks found
And then-
Orthodox.
Yeah, based on stats, it looks like we're going to get Muscovy, Venice, Semien, Uruguay, and the Iroquois. And then it's too early to say for that.
Right. Well,
So we might have. It's possible because Songhai don't mind religion. Benin apparently are getting some faith. We could have 4 or 5 religions in Africa. this graph.
Yeah, and next to no religions in North America, in the Americas.
Yeah, in
As
before
usual.
you pick religion just becomes the dominant one in
Well,
America.
it may well do, honestly.
Again.
Anyway, let's move away from religions. Sorry, Spencer, if you're still listening. And we'll turn to Songhai and Algeria, and then kind of transition into Songhai.
Yeah.
That is a fun war. You're right, Luna.
Yeah.
And the video tells us that Constantine is pretty much history. It will almost definitely fall to Songhai next turn unless something silly happens. But how far do we think Songhai can push? Do we think this is a real absolute deal, like game breaker now for Algeria, or do we think that Songhai won't be able to push that far?
So I think they're going to be able to.
Slam falling.
Yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
take. They're going to take Tlemcen too, unless peace is made. I don't see how Australia is going to muster any defensive
Australia?
forces.
Australia?
Did I say Australia? I meant
Songhai
Algeria.
DOW Australia in part 2, what?
Wait. You got the part right?
Oh God, no!
No, I'm
But
fucking
you
serious.
said you were doing
Hold
part
up.
4.
Did you actually read the part?
No, I don't know what happens.
Oh.
Accidentally, I just accidentally said Australia instead of
Tune in
Algeria.
on Wednesday, folks.
Bob
Looney,
Hawke
you're a
is
troll.
killed
I
by the
don't buy you.
Songhai.
I don't buy you for 1 minute. And I just
Isn't-
think you say.
okay. Actually,
Oh,
genuinely
you
though.
make me black.
Isn't there a whatchamacallit, a Algerian city in like Sierra Leone, south of Songhai?
No. An Algerian city? No, there isn't. No.
Oh, I thought someone said they settled around there or something.
No. They normally do in tests for some reason. We've seen this before. Just like how Carthage founded a city near the Ashanti, like right in the kind of area around Guinea and Sierra Leone in Mark II. For some reason, Algeria or Libya were just founding that area all the time in tests. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why the Maghreb Atlas Mountain civs seem to love settling down there, but they do. Anyway, they did.
Yeah.
They haven't done it.
But yeah, so Algeria are probably going to lose at least 2 cities in this war.
I think
Because
you're
they
right
have
about
their-
them losing Tlemcen. But what does this mean for Songhai? Because Songhai, we cautiously ranked them below Benin last part, thinking that Benin still looked
Yeah.
like they had the military upper hand. And I think, without spoiling too much about the rankings, it's safe to say Songhai are a little ahead of Benin this time. In the
Songhai's
rankings.
stock has gone up hugely.
Yeah.
I personally ranked Songhai 4th, and I was not
Well,
the only one who did that.
No, there you go.
God damn.
So they are just expanding like crazy, and they haven't neglected military. But they're settling a crap ton of cities, and they're expanding militarily at the same time. Like Benin, if they declared war, probably could take Jinne right now, but I don't think they will, because I think does Songhai have a bigger military than Benin, even though it's not.
I think they're similar, but Songhai are a lot spread out.
Yeah, so
I'll just
they're
get-
similar in size, but they take into account the fact that Songhai's military is not near their border, so I don't think they'll
Yeah.
declare war.
I think the other thing is that we have seen with Benin, if they don't go aggressive early and counter Songhai, Songhai will bulk up, they will get units from all these cities, and they will become a war machine. And we've seen the tests where Songhai have taken Benin and gone over to better Israel as well. So I don't think that's impossible. Also, I think
Songhai have 734 military score. Benin have 685 military score.
Oh wow! And also, I
Okay,
think
that's
Songhai
also
settled.
Just a complete side note, but Beta Israel have 820. I don't know where they got that from.
Beta Israel have just slept. They've done nothing. They are Yakusha.
Yeah,
They're not Yakusha because they're not even good.
They're not even big. They're just. I don't know who they are. They're Mark II Burma.
Yeah. Also, isn't Timbuktu in like fairly close to its real life look?
No, not that close.
Well, I was assuming Gao is sort of where
Gao,
the
Gao
Mali
is
capital
placed.
is.
Gao is kind of placed. No. Gao is nowhere near Bamako. Gao is kind of placed wrong on the map. So Gao should actually be pretty close to where Timbuktu is, kind of like tile south from that. But for some reason, it wound up being the wrong side of the Niger. Probably for balance reasons.
Yeah.
I don't remember why now.
Probably.
Mainly because I think the thing about Gao is the real city of Gao is it's really just in the desert. I mean, it's on the river, but like it's like the last point you can go north before you just hit the inhospitable Sahara. So
Also talk about Africa. Do we start? Are we allowed to include Minoa in Africa? Because I mean,
yeah, I keep putting them in my European rankings.
Not anymore because they lost their African city.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Their cities now are Amalia and Gurnia, which is in the Levant. So they're more likely a Middle Eastern or European city now. But anyway, I think it's safe to say Songhai. People have high hopes of them now. So we're keeping a close eye on where they move. Let's.
I would not be unhappy if Songhai won Africa.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be unhappy. Is there something of a vanilla charm here? Do we think? Have Songhai carried over the good luck from Brazil?
Honestly, I'd put that as a strong yes. I could honestly see them like Songhai just. I could honestly see Songhai dominating from Africa and doing a reverse Brazil and moving over. But it would require a lot of really well.
I think it's really early to try to say anything like that.
But no, like as of the best contender to do it, even a theoretical case where Iroquois break out, they take out Canada, even they take out Poverty Point, I don't see them as being aggressive enough to make those plays. I could see Songhai doing it, however. Just with the biases I see so far. But that's conjecture.
So it's wild conjecture, but we'll see.
Spicy boy.
Is Libya at war with Algeria?
Libya is, but they're not really interested.
Yeah, but they've done nothing because Libya haven't built military either.
Any troops at all.
Did they both go piety? I don't know. Did they both go general?
Well, someone's reformed a religion which strongly not reformed, enhanced, which strongly suggests that they went piety because to get the faith that quick, you'd need to go piety. But we couldn't see which of the two it was. But we'll see. Anyway, let's move on to our good friends, the Middle East. And
so, can I open this segment by saying that I regret putting the Seljuks at 8th last part?
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little regret.
Yeah.
Wow, the title for this portion of the agenda just feels like an insult to that. Lax, can you read out the exact title?
One sec. No.
I have it.
Poor Seljuks, do they stand the chance?
There we go. Poor Seljuks. Do they stand a chance? I don't know, do they?
No, I mean, yes, because Isfahan will take it like an absolute age capture. But, like, no, not really. They're basically in stuff.
Just to refresh my brain, I believe they were declared on by...
Parthia, Oman. They're at war with Parthia, Oman, and Palmyra.
Okay,
Mind you, Oman.
No, I think they stand a chance. If anything, for some reason, I expect not Isfahan to take damage, but I can totally see the coastal city of Ray being dual bombarded by Oman and Palmyra. I can see that going. I cannot see that capital going. I don't see any catapults yet. The second they start rolling out, maybe.
Well, here's the thing. Actually, Seljuks have founded 5 cities so far. They've lost 1. No, sorry, they've founded 4 cities so far. They've lost 1. And oh god, there's people outside. I went outside.
I believe Palmyra are also actually going north towards that other city they said.
Yes, possibly. Although Palmyra are kind of hard to fucking call at the moment because most of their military is still in Anatolia for some reason. Anyway, they founded 4 cities. You've got Hamadan, which has already fallen. Ray, incredibly open. I don't see how they can cling on to that at all. But
the incredibly badly named city of Merv.
And Merv, I don't know why. Why do you think it's badly named?
It's just a silly name.
Merv, really?
Merv. It's Merv. It's just Merv.
Merv.
It's
just
like,
Merv.
This is like
just a very.
It's like one of the biggest centers of the ancient world.
Merv is going to be the meme capital of Seaverix, confirmed.
Well, this is the thing. I think it could be a capital because genuinely, I see that being the Seljuk city least likely to fall. I think it's a very well settled city. It's nicely on the Caspian.
Could they give it away in a peace treaty?
Oh, they could do, couldn't they?
Yeah,
I
it wouldn't be
that,
like.
I think they could cling on to that city for a long time. I think that city is very, very nicely sheltered, and I'll be interested to see if anyone figures out how to crack it. If anyone can do it, they're probably gonna have to do it with a navy, and no one.
I was going to say, at this rate, it's going to be the Golden Horde.
Well, yeah, no one else has coastal cities on the Caspian except for the Golden Horde, and I do not see the Golden Horde building a navy ever.
Yeah, the Golden Horde. I didn't realize how far south Atil was. They're bordering the Seljuks.
Yeah, Atil's right down in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, it's just south of Al Baku, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I put it like just on the southern borders of the country of Azerbaijan. Although I should remind everyone, of course, that the province of Iran that borders Azerbaijan is also called Azerbaijan.
Yes.
It's a Luxembourg situation.
Mm-hmm. I think it's quite nice that in one shot we can see the Goths all the way down to the Seljuks. Quite satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the Seljuks. I think we've sort of succinctly got that.
Seljuks
talk
rib.
about our next topic. Well, maybe not. Our next topic, the Kazakhs. How are they faring?
Top 10 civs too.
Yep, I would say so. I'd say they're still. We can't shake a finger at them and say, well, you're doing badly, because they're not. They've settled some pretty decent cities. They've still got good room to expand, and they've declared.
They're gonna eat the Nenets, yeah.
We declared the war that we all predicted, and indeed hoped for.
Or you could be me and rank them in 23rd.
Yes, or you could be J-Man. Hello, J-Man, by the way. Nice to see you.
Oh, hey, J-Man.
Yes.
Hi, J-Man.
J-Man's too cool for us.
Bold, but I agree with J-Man.
Well, this
I
is
don't.
interesting.
Personally,
I really don't.
I
personally,
You
I
guys
think.
have no idea
Well,
how vindicated I feel.
Here's my reasoning. The reason why I put them in 23rd, the Nenets are destroying their carpet right now. Not that you can really call it a carpet, it's more like a rug, but the Nenets, their ranged units are taking out the Kazakh attack, and the Kazakhs are just cucking themselves and opening themselves up to a Parthian attack from the south.
I think the Kazakhs are going to fail to take any cities from the Nenets, but they will get the Nenets' second city in the peace treaty, because that's just the kind of AI that the Nenets are.
Yeah,
I also don't think Parthia is going to attack them, because Parthia is still with the Seljuks.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not peace.
Oh, wait, they're not? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
they did.
they might then, but I also would not put a lot of money on it.
Yeah, what I will say is our last shot in the video of the border between Parthia and Kazakhs, neither of them have military units there at all. In that whole kind of screenshot.
Yeah,
you
they're
can
also
see-
both. They are both like distant settles. Remember. So,
yeah, I mean, I think if either of them did bring an army to bear, they could definitely take the other person's city. But as I say, at the moment, that neither of them have militarized that border at all. They look like they're tenuously friends.
Yeah, certainly.
Anyway,
There's no reason to say that between with those two close settles, that Parthia is the more threatening one, and that the Kazakhs should go down because Parthia can take their city. It applies exactly the other way around too.
Yeah, and here's the only I say counter being that Kazakhs are currently engaged in another war. And here's the thing I would say. I will kind of reply to what you said, Jay, which is that I think you're possibly right that. The Kazakhs could walk away from the war with little army left and not having taken any Nenet cities. And I would say it doesn't matter, because they still just have all that space. They've still got the kind of biases that will keep them building units at a rapid pace.
yeah, they've still got the opportunity to get those huge farms from the wheat to the east and the west.
They've still got that UA that just eats up land, the land around them, those plains. I would never be able to put them out of the top 10 until we get to like the medieval era and they're starting to lag behind, to be honest, because no one's going to come close to them for a while in that area, unless, and this is my one big unless, and that is the Kamugs start focusing in that direction. They could do, and they have done in some tests, And I think that would be the first thing that would make me go, okay, the Kazakhs are in trouble here.
I think either even the Evenks, like if the Evenks come southwest into that like where that scout is on the slide, they could like really become a doorstop almost.
I don't think the Evenks will ever be a threat to anyone. That's my hot prediction.
I agree with Lax.
I strongly disagree with the fact they won't be a threat to anyone. I think they're looking better than I've seen them in most tests and in most games. Full stop. They're looking better than the Nenets for sure.
Well, that's not saying much.
It's not a hard bar to get over, though.
The thing is, we talk about analogs between Mark II civs quite a lot, but holy god, are the Evenks just Yakutia? Like they'll expand big.
They're like Yakutia, but with an even worse start and less competent AI. So the Evenks are like if there was another civ that started north of Yakutia.
Yeah. And also the Kamuks are in the game now, not the Mongols. So
yeah, they are probably should be like padding for the Kamuk Mongol Empire.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Moving on then from Middle East and Central Asia, we'll move to South Asia. And our first, these are both kind of little topics really, because South Asia, while very interesting, is still very small. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Maratha. They've had a couple of parts now where they've exceeded expectations, but I'm personally thinking maybe they're starting to spread themselves a little thin, especially with those two DAOs from India and Nepal earlier in the part. Do we think the Maratha are possibly going to implode anytime soon, or are we still feeling confident?
I think they're not going anywhere.
Implode right now. They have the most land to settle as far as South Asia goes, outside of maybe the Tongu, and they just have the ability to start ramping up their military. The only thing they really have to worry about is Nepal forward settled them a bit, but their forward settle was really just stopping them from settling more of northern India.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
It's alright, I wouldn't even call that a forward settle, it's just a settle.
Yeah, I think also though they're at war, but the units coming down are getting slowed down by the terrain in Nepal's case. And although India do have a pretty scary carpet this early in the game, I don't think they'll be able to take Satara. And so we might just see units being expended for nothing because it might be one of those ancient era wars that doesn't go anywhere.
Well, India have already failed to take Satara. If you look at how big their army was at the start of the war and how small it was at the end of the war, they've completely squandered the chance.
Yeah, it's like the
they really did have a good chance to take it, but I don't know what happened. I didn't watch every part of the video.
I think what's happened is it's just an extension of the fact that in most Civ games, if you build two composite bowmen, you defend any city.
Yeah.
So if you've got a couple of range units and until like maybe end of medieval, you can defend the city because the AI.
A human can.
A human can, but the AI is also does prioritize like melee unit and stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I don't know.
Also, AIs are stupid and will wait until they've eliminated all of the enemy's units around the city before they attack the city.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah.
Depends on the AI, but
sometimes they attack the city too early.
I mean, yeah. the AI is not good, guys. Newsflash.
This is why it's entertaining. If it was multiplayer, like Kazakh would have won by now.
Yeah.
Well, neither were the Boers, the Inuit, or the what was that third civ? Brazil.
Australia too.
Any civ can really shine and defy expectations. I mean, some civs have a higher chance than others of victory. I mean, not in this case. Now it's just kind of definite that the Shang, as we're going to call them now, are going to die. But it's still anybody's game. You can't really deny.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the Shang's game.
So this is how the Shangs can win.
Genuinely, let's do that. Let's do that as the end of the segment. Like, if we were players, how could we get the Shang to win?
We'll
okay, that would be fun. That would be a fun
bonus
bonus round.
Well, no, we'll do that when we get to the Shang because they are on our topic. But first, guys, we're going to the Tongu. The
Hashtag
Tongu are a weird one. they didn't get a slide in part 2. They didn't get a single slide dedicated to them, and yet, as you will see when the rankings do come out, they've gone up a little bit in the rankings this week. Why is that, guys?
They've defied expectations. They've expanded. Like, we were thinking, oh god, they've settled 2 cities. They're going to do fuck all for the rest of the game. They've got, what, 6 cities now?
5.
They're looking like 5 cities. And they've got some decent military. They're doing internal trading, which is always cute. They're doing everything you kind of want them to do at this point now.
Their stats are damn decent as well, it has to be said.
They are boring, just as I would have predicted.
Oh, really? So you're...
they're good
you're
boring.
Yep, they are boring, as in the BOER boring. Or Boer, as some people like to pronounce
bowering.
them. They're boring. They are completely stacking up, but not a military because they don't need to. They.
Oh, Luna, are you there?
Eh.
Oh, okay, bye.
Well,
I think they have a lot of science, actually.
I hope they hear me saying this so that they can try and figure it out. But I was about to say, Lunar Canton Pirates supporter
Luna,
Oh no! I actually do support the. But on the condition that they really pick up their game, I will quickly switch into not a supporter if the next part is just as boring. But if they say completely settled towards the Tongu, they could challenge them. But at this current spot, the Tongu are gonna bore up.
do you mean settle towards the Tonga, or do you mean settle towards Canton?
If Canton settle toward the Tonga.
Canton settle.
What I mean.
Got you.
Yeah, Canton to Tonga.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth keeping an eye on Tongu. Although I will say they're much like the Boers. Their AI isn't that aggressive, and unlike the Boers, they do have enemies kind of on all sides. They'll have Nepal, possibly Maratha, possibly Canton, possibly even Chin to deal with in the near future. Whereas the Boers kind of they really benefited from taking out the Zulu early. Or rather, hemming in the Zulu early.
I think
Don't forget Oman. Oman in the test actually got, this is like not a joke. In the test, they got messed up with Tongu multiple times. I think in that area anyway.
Yeah, and also
Oman
Nepal. Remember that?
We normally see them, so I'm not sure that's going to happen this test. Sadly.
Remember that one
that was
test?
happening.
Nepal settled Thailand, Malaysia, Surabaya, and west coast of Australia.
Yeah, it could happen. Could happen. I mean, we're definitely going to see some crazy settles, and
I think that regarding Tongu, we're saying like they're doing good stats. They're really not. They're very middle of the pack. I mean, they're a contender if they like play it right and play it well, but they're not like far and away top 10. I think
bit like
Tongu are a real contender.
No,
if they play
no,
play their cards.
Absolutely not.
sorry.
I do
That
want
meme
to
is a
talk
contender to
about.
piss me off if they play their cards right.
I do want to talk about a bit of a wild card. I understand if you guys already talked about them and don't want to talk about them, but Oman, because now South India is a lot more open than they usually are during tests. How likely do you guys think we are from seeing Oman settling Sri Lanka, or I don't know I don't know anything about Southern India, anything that's Dravidian, basically.
The thing is, it could happen.
A 90% chance of them putting a city down there.
Oh god, I wouldn't go that high.
No,
I
I'd
think it
say
could
like
happen, but
25, 30.
I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think it'll mean anything.
I don't see the Navy that I want to see.
I would
at
agree.
This point. I do not see the Navy here. I have the advantage that I'm scrolling through the part at the moment. Oman have nothing.
Well, no, not many non-island civs do have a navy.
Yeah,
to be said.
I would not expect anyone really to have much of a navy.
Maratha is
It's a
spreading
bit early
too
for
quick,
that,
in my
and
opinion.
We'll talk about
Oman don't even have sailing. Yeah, they haven't improved the resources.
Anyway, we're going to move on now to East Asia, and I think we're going to start with the dearly nearly departed, the Shang, aka the Shah.
Our favorite city-state.
Shanglong
I'm
and
such a big
thanks
fan
for
of this mod, and I'm very disappointed, but I guess it had to come to this. We all sort of saw it coming. But still, that was an incredibly quick takedown. Part 2 and they're reduced to a city-state from being on 3 cities. We didn't see anything near that lightning speed in CBR Mark II or Mark 1.
Yeah,
so
I mean, to be fair, Mark II was unusual. Like, having 150, 200 turns before a city capture is unusual.
It was a city capture
elimination.
before an elimination. There was, we often forget Rome was the first one out, but Byzantium lost their capital before Rome did.
Yeah, Byzantium lost the capital very early. Mark II was exceptional in that sense, but is this one also exceptional? Is this an incredibly quick capital capture?
I would. It is. This is on par with some of the quickest capital captures that were ever seen in Groundhog Day, and that's where the civs all start right next to each other. So that's pretty unusual.
The civs did start relatively
within
close,
Groundhog distance.
Yeah, that's true. But again, so that's reasonable. But even if this was in Groundhog Day, this would be like the 3rd or 4th earliest capital capture or elimination. If they.
What's funny is I have a test game where a capital was lost turn 30 and turn 45. This would be, this would be probably near it. And it was Haida taking out UP. That was the quickest capture.
We've seen
I thought that was turn 40.
Yeah, it was turn 40.
I'm getting them confused.
Turn 40 elimination.
Yeah, it wasn't a capital falling, it was a full elimination, which is what made it so amazing.
I will have to say, it is kind of sad but funny that the first elimination in Mark II was Rome, and that was when they were in the height of the classical era, which you would expect would be their time to shine because they would have ballistae and Roman legionaries. And now the Sia, who have the unique, that's a chariot archer, and this forge that replaces the barracks, I believe. Kind of funny that this is kind of the era where they're supposed to shine, and yet they're immediately getting dunked on right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. Ancient units make you die. The end.
Now the bonuses are just going to feed the Qing. The Qing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, actually we talked about this a little before. If the Qin are able to use it, there's something a bit weird about modded civs and the Qin's UA apparently. But
okay, right. Having done support for the Qin for my mods, it's under Lua stuff, so it'll give them the flat bonuses easily. And even then, it might still give them the Lua stuff.
Well, what ER was saying is that what Emerald Range was saying is that. I think it was Emerald Range, was that you can code units to say only usable by X civ, so only usable by Shah, for example, as a way of limiting it from other civs. But
that's the default thing with classes.
There needs to be a bypass for that, otherwise the Qin can't pick it up. So if the modder put that in, the Qin mod won't be able to take their unit. I think is what he said.
I think
now one presumes that Tongu, for example, will be compatible with it because he's obviously spotted this. I think it was Emerald Range. I might be wrong there.
Yeah, but I think they do still do it because I think unit class advice only means that they don't automatically have it. But I'm pretty sure the Qin mod is coded to do it. But I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see.
That's what he said. He said that the Qin weren't taking them automatically, but I don't know. I have no idea. I am not a modder.
I mean, the other thing on this, there's another important thing on this slide, which is Shikoku.
Well, we can move on to that. Didn't we want to talk about whether Shah would be able to, how we would win as Shah? Here's how Shanda's considered.
That'll be our bonus at the end of the game.
Okay.
Or end of the PRCast.
Yeah.
Shikoku. Now we just talked about the fact that the only navies we've seen so far are from island civs, and this sort of could arguably be a little unfair because Korea obviously didn't have much of a navy, and Shikoku built one up very quickly and have pounced. And again, sorry about that, I just kicked some rocks. And then again, even though we didn't see any cities fall in the part, if you watch the video, it's very, very clear that Pyongyang is going down next turn. And honestly, I don't even think Korea are going to be able to flip it. But what Shikoku have done incredibly well for this kind of attack is they've actually brought land units along as well. There's some warriors in Korea.
This is a high elo play.
Yeah,
just to bring a league term here, a high elo move. I'm about to do what's called a pro gamer move right now. That's what this is.
This is Shikoku. This is Shikoku being the new Carthage and having human-like AI because this is glorious.
It's very well to note that they also have the highest tax, I believe. It's only by one, but still, they have a 3 lead over the below average civs. So
it's not
they have
shocked, though, because their UA is specifically surrounding getting techs early on in the game.
Yeah. So ECH points out Korea's UA gives them a naval unit in the coastal cities when war is declared on them, but that didn't fire because they don't have sailing yet. So they
no.
Oh, rather they don't have optics.
So
they don't have any
so that puts Korea at a massive disadvantage from
We could see a Shikoku Peninsula. Like, I don't think it's super likely, but I think it's possible that Hanseong falls as well in this war.
Oh yeah, I think it's very possible. I think the good news for Korea is that they did settle Daegu right in the middle of Manchuria, and I think even the most ambitious Shikoku commanders aren't setting their sights on Daegu anytime. So they at least have that.
Yeah, I could definitely see Pyongyang.
Oh, hey Rion, by the way.
Yeah, Rion is here, but is muted. I don't think he wants to talk. He just wants to listen.
He just wants to get money.
Yeah, of course. Hanseong, I could definitely see be threatened, but I don't expect it. While this is very superhuman AI right now, judging from the current unit positioning, they seem to be dead set on defending Matsuyama, which, if Korea had a navy, would be a pretty smart idea, but they don't, and only seeing 3 units around or near Pyongyang is kind of disconcerting. I can see Pyongyang definitely going, but not much more.
Those units in Matsuyama may simply be on their way to the front.
That's very true. It just seems oddly defensive. I don't know. That's just how I'm reading the positioning of stationary units.
Shikoku, are you also using internal trade route? Because they can't be trading with that. They can't be trading with
You and your internal trade route.
That war.
Well, no, they could be trading with Canton or with the Kamug Mongol city. We don't know where that route is going.
They're probably trading with Ba'arin, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, Ba'arin, the most gold-rich city. The absolute unit! I'm sorry. This was one of the most... I audibly reacted when I saw this. Just completely by myself. I did an imitation of JonTron's. Because holy hell. Like, they're like, okay, we could settle towards the big empty area. We could settle north. Nah, bro, I know there's a good spot. Here, let me walk.
Nah, bro, Shanghai, bro.
We're going there.
And it is the exact spot of Shanghai as well, although I will say before any nerds jump in, the Yangtze Delta is a bit fucked. It's kind of going the wrong way, but that's yeah. This is it's an interesting call from the Kamog Mongols. It certainly made writing their city law quite difficult.
I will say, Ba'arin, there is a canton settler on the tile below Ba'arin, which means that the canton could potentially declare war on the canton.
No, hang on. I'm gonna veto that reading because I actually watched this Cantonese settler for every single turn. Don't ask why. That Cantonese settler has been around. It was in Vietnam at one point, and then just kind of slowly traipsed back through up Cantonese territory to Ba'arin. But the city had already been founded way before that. So it wasn't like a quick city, like sniping a city spot or anything.
I mean, it kind of is, because Canton probably would have settled there if Ba'arin wasn't there.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it wasn't like they had a settler hovering and then the Canton Ba'arin.
It's not like Australia.
Which is what happened with Prussia and the Sami, incidentally, the same part, where Prussia had a city settler hanging right outside St. Petersburg, and they ended up plonking it back down in Latvia somewhere. So
I think Ba'arin is the interesting city, is a fun city, but I think ultimately, actually, that's how the Shan can win if they take Ba'arin straight up.
Oh God, that's not a bad shout.
Anyway, moving on. That's a taster for Lee.
Yeah, what's the next topic?
What's Oceania?
Okay, well.
No, it's the
Ultimate of
comics.
Sulu are the best Civ on the face of the cylinder, and that's all you need to.
We did want to talk about the Kamugs.
Yeah, the Kamugs. That's the one thing. We touched Shikoku versus Korea, but the Kamugs we've still yet to go to talk about. And I mean, well, they are good.
Please. Someone put their
I
Civ
don't-
icon on the side of a ceramic drinking vase and have a car mug.
Oh,
Oh my!
really poor, really poor. Feel really bad about yourself.
I already do, bro. Already, bro.
Holy crap! That is a carpet.
Yes,
I
the
never
Kamugs-
looked. I never noticed this.
The
They are
Kamugs. I don't
they
want
are the
to,
most.
I don't want to touch too heavily on them now, but I will say I think we were all very well, not all. Many of us were very impressed by the Kamugs this part.
I'm really impressed by the Kamugs this
No,
part. They're a
no,
real contender
please
if they
let us
continue to
happen.
play their cards
Many
right.
of us were very surprised and pleased with the Kamugs this part. And it is an interesting one because Ba'arin is such a brainless settle, really. There's nothing that's going to come of that. It's Shikoku or Cantons when they want it. But their other moves this part have been pretty unfaultable. Some really, really good home settles, kind of staving off Evenk potential advances with a very defendable settle up in Siberia, while also moving in closer towards the Qing and China. Their army is also hovering real close to the Qing core. I think we could see a declaration of war coming there very shortly, especially given the Qing have just taken a city, which means that they'll be getting
penalty.
Very likely. The
Also,
movements of that army. That's a war.
Yeah,
I expect turn 52. Quote
I
it.
also think-
I don't know it, but
while I think the
Yeah.
Qing have the capacity to defend, certainly they do have an army themselves. I think the Kamugs could easily walk away with Mukden, at least.
Yeah, I also think that I think they're definitely like, if I was to call them any civ like a dummy thick military, it would be the Kamugs. They're about to settle I think a 7th city near that uranium,
Yeah.
I think, and then probably an 8th
Although-
near the south of that.
They have two settlers out at the moment. One of them is too close to their core to kind of figure out where it's going, but the other one is hanging really awkwardly in this horrible desert spot, and I really hope they don't settle there, because that would be their first truly awful city, because it's just.
I mean, they're going to,
south.
which is adjacent
It's-
to like 3 resources.
It can't be worse than Barlas, honestly.
Ba'arin.
Look at Barlas down there. It's just the same thing. It's in desert.
Is it
and they
Barlas or
founded it
Ba'arin, the one in
since-
Shanghai?
Barlas, no, Barlas isn't the fullest settler, it's the one above the Qing.
Yeah, I'm talking about
right,
Barlas.
yeah.
We can see on the screen right now.
I'm not on my computer anymore. Sorry, I'm on my mobile.
Barlas. It's a relatively flat desert city. There's horses,
Yeah, I remember it. No, I remember
stone, iron.
It's fine.
There's a lot of
it's
stuff
okay.
nearby it. It's all right. It's not
The
terrible.
thing about Barlas is it's nice and close to China, which makes it a nice little forward base. Whereas this settler that's hanging out in the desert at the moment is just in the middle of nowhere. I'm just like, oh, please not there, Christ.
So,
but we'll see.
Yeah. Clonam says in the chat about original camo colours being the best. Yes, I agree they should have changed HRE instead of Camogs.
I don't mean Evenks. That was the issue.
Oh, was it? No, I thought Camogs were brown and yellow.
Oh, sure, but the main issue came from the fact that Evenks and Camogs were indistinguishable on the map.
And Senshi did not want us to change the colors whatsoever, so we asked Langora, and
Yeah,
Langora was cool with the gray-blue motif, which is pretty decent considering it kind of fits the whole Jamaica boiling his rivals alive.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's the best color of the cylinder. Don't even at me.
Uh,
Hey,
I am atting you on that. That is a hot take right there.
what is your favorite cousin cylinder, guys? Mine's Palmyra, or Palmyra, I should say. Anyone else got any?
I love light blues and teals, so I love the UP.
Oh God, no! Don't go there at all.
It's just a
I'm-
colour.
I thought you were gonna say the Kazakhs or something. I was like, yeah, they've got a really nice.
I'm obviously biased, but I love India.
You're a little biased there, I think. A little. Biased.
India is really good, actually.
I like the Chin. The Chin are using the colour scheme for New Scotland as well.
Sorry, you said the Chin or the Chingaga?
Chin with the blue and pink.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one I made for the chin.
Yeah.
I am personally a fan of the Sia Nepal, and Haida. They are
Sea are
definitely
good. Shark good.
I don't really like the Sea. Oh no, sorry.
I don't like
different.
Nepal's
Yeah,
color.
I don't like vanilla Sea that much. I like the new Sea.
The new Jade
Nepal's
is
very pretty
awesome.
as well.
I, for one, am excited by the lime green submarine. Everybody, raise your dongers.
God.
Brazil best.
I think we can all agree, guys, the worst colour scheme is Parthia. So moving on to Oceania.
No. Parthia is okay. Worst color scheme, I mean, objectively, is probably you pick because it's unreadable. But I like the actual like background color.
Parthia's is complete.
Laughs and mateys.
Oh, just one last thing though. Worst color scheme of any mod civ is Owen Gwendolyn Wales, which is actually unreadable.
I don't know it, I'm afraid.
Dark red on dark green.
That doesn't sound great.
Oh, I want to die. Thank
Although I would honestly say the worst is the Inuit myself, but
Inuit and no, the AW Inuit is even worse.
oh god, yes, you're right. I'd forgotten about them. That is,
Shit, I love AW's Inuit. I want to play as them so bad, but they crash my game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like Malaysia. They join
AWs
Malaysia in the group of cool, really cool.
You know what Civ's color scheme I dislike the most? And it's not happy for me considering I really wanted this Civ in there. Papua's color scheme is really bad for me. It's very garish on the eye.
Now Madol and Vanuatu are both bad.
Papua, I think, is a what's a divisive one. I actually quite like Papua. I think it's kind of nice, like pastely vibe to it.
I actually
It's very,
Yeah,
very
okay.
Gedmo. A lot of
I
Gedmos are
actually
far
do like
worse.
Papua myself. So
I like
It's also legible, which is always nice.
some
I
of the
like
South
all of
American
it.
ones.
I don't dislike. I think any of the Australias. A lot of the Australias are quite. I think all 4 Australias are quite cool.
Yeah, these trains are fine. They got that nice green and gold thing going on for the most part.
Yeah, South America. I agree. There are a couple of like the awful colours. There's a lot of beige.
I'm more of a Venice guy myself.
Venice is dope.
Venice is lush.
You know who has a nice similar color? Sulu. Let's move on to Oceania.
I'm really
yes,
impressed with
although we're not-
CBR.
I don't really want to talk too much about
this
Sulu.
topic. All we need to say is that the Sultanate of Sulu is the best civilization on the cylinder. They're unbeaten in battle, and they forward settled Papua. What more do you need?
They've not battled anyone.
I think that's the joke.
They're unbeaten in battle.
Unbeaten.
I think we'll move on from Sulu. I don't think there's too much to say.
Yeah,
I
but
just
do
want to
they
kind of
have-
focus in on
Blah,
Australian
blah,
continent today, if that's okay.
Yeah, we can just say about Sulu. Sandakara exists. Papua fucked.
I mean, yeah, Papua fucked
Yes.
anyway. But anyway, yeah, let's
Papua's
talk about-
This is
fucked,
just-
but the Murray
Oh.
have also missed the bus. I gotta say.
Yeah, and you see,
Murray toast.
last part I had my to defend the Murray and the fact that I reckoned they could invade and do a good job in Australia, which was honestly true when I made my rankings. That is what I believed. Obviously, I had already read the part and knew full well that well, they were fucked. So it was an interesting argument I had to make, but
Yep.
hey ho. Hopefully, I was convincing. Hopefully, I didn't reveal too much.
Watching the VOD back, Lex is just like her tells are just everywhere.
Say again.
No,
sorry.
I think your tells, like when you're lying, are just throughout the.
Are they? Was it? As long as you couldn't spot it at the time, I don't think it matters. But anyway.
Yep. It's the kind of it's the lie in context. I'm pretty good at lying straight through my teeth without no one noticing.
I'm excellent
ARG.
at poker. Just for the record, like you don't want to play me at poker. I'm very.
Lex, remind me never to get drunk and play you at poker.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
All right.
I'm
Relax,
gonna
you want me.
owe you my tuition penny.
The context for people who don't know me intimately, Lordy Staven, by complete, genuine, utter coincidence,
Yeah, genuinely, we did
has-
not plan this.
has a place on my course at my university next year. So we'll soon be
In the year below.
course-
In the year below.
Still fucking weird. Yeah, if I don't get moved back a year, Lordy, I still.
Isn't Gly and like Rance gonna be on the same place?
Yeah, I believe
No,
so.
wait,
No, Glenn
really?
Docks it.
I think
Rance
Yeah.
is like. Rance is like 40. Not
I
that.
thought it was
No, he's going to
Florida.
university or
Florida.
college.
Okay, fair enough.
That's why I thought he was going to whatever.
Yeah, it's Blind Dogs. He says top half.
Yeah,
Alright.
Blind Dogs, yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, yeah, they're now going to the same course though, on the same uni. Like
I
Lax
should
and I
say
are
as well,
the exact same.
this course
very
has like
niche.
this course has like 6 people on it a year.
Lax, are there any guys on it in your year?
Yeah. Wait.
Because there are
No.
2 guys in the art history enrolled for art history
Yeah,
currently in
yes.
New York. For my
There's no guys on the curating course. There's plenty of guys on the art history course.
there's 2 on the art history course, and I'm one of them.
Oh wow. No, there's loads of guys in our yeah. But like it's fine. Just man up.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but like, what if I get nervous around lots of girls because they're like smarter than?
Well, they will be smarter than you, but that's fine. You know, learn.
Yeah, no, everyone's smarter than me by default. 'Cause I'm an idiot.
You did IB, to be fair. I'm not. Anyway, this
I
is
did
incredibly
IB and I
dull for everyone
regret
else.
it
Let's
so
talk about
much.
Australia. Australia and the Murray. I do think I will agree now with the common consensus. The Murray are fucked. But is this
Yeah.
Australia's continent to take? Do we believe
Yes.
that this is?
I
Yes.
believe so. It's the most
100%.
depressing thing to mention. Sulu focusing on Papua is not Sulu focusing on Australia. Is not
True.
Papua having an ability to go into Australia. New Zealand
I think-
seems determined at this point to be settling a whole bunch of islands nearby. May grab Tanzania. I think that's the island.
Worked really well.
Tasmania.
No, it's not Tanzania. No.
Tasmania.
Yes, Tanzania, doing it.
They could settle it.
Wait,
yeah.
so this is how Australia declared war on the Songhai? They settled Tanzania.
The Sultan of New Zealand lives in Tasmania now.
It's just where he lives.
Sultan Seven of New Zealand.
Oh man.
Honestly, though, is there even a point? Australia's already won this.
Yeah, settling
Yeah.
Tasmania.
Yeah,
didn't
they're-
work too well for Maori.
This is over.
Oh, hey, check
what I
now.
will say as well, Australia's 2 settles this turn of Perth and Brisbane were just incredible because they just
Oh, God,
single-handedly shot off the easiest and best settling spots for both Papua and Sulu. If either of them were ever going to be interested, well, now they got to like
I
either
think
go down to the Gulf of Carpentaria where the land is shit, or go all the way around to Western Australia where it's going to be really hard for them to defend.
Sulu still has a shot at contesting Northern Australia, but we'll see. I think
Well, if either of them were going to settle, it would definitely be Sulu who would settle it, because clearly Papua has forgotten how to do literally any basic Civ strategy.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, I think Papua. I thought Papua were very underrated coming into this in Part 0, and indeed in some tests, Papua blitzed through Northern Australia really well.
Yeah.
God, what are they doing? Well, nothing.
They're looking. They've decided to go for tourism and started looking at Uluru.
It's like
Well, that-
it's like we somehow turned on random personalities for the Papua. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, they're not performing like anything we had seen in previous tests.
Oh, by the way,
like,
hi-
they're at
hi,
least
Techno.
decent. Hello there. Yeah, I just joined. I'll only
yeah,
be here for
too.
about 30 minutes.
Yeah, Techno
Techno, we had a
established that
question.
your mod. Yeah, your mod isn't racist. Is
You gotta
I was just gonna say,
It's just
it
processing
seems
that.
like Papua got a -2 on every single roll it possibly could, and now
Yeah.
it's Haiti, but worse.
minus espionage for some reason.
For the record,
Yeah.
guys, if you get a -2 on everything, you should just behave the same, right? Like
yeah.
that's what the bias are. You don't just
and
stop doing anything.
and you're right, because this is how Papua normally performed in other AI games where I've seen them.
Well, this is interesting. I think we've had different
Which is why I had
experiences.
them ranked very low.
I see
Yeah.
Papua do okay. I've seen them do okay in AI games, and I saw them do okay.
yeah,
in
I
Dead.
think as far as Gedemo Polynesian civs go, and he has a surprising amount. I think Vanuatu are probably better than Papua in like every.
Well, yeah, well, there were different
Definitely.
voting regions, and I actually, before Tonga was released, Vanuatu were my favourites in the Polynesia region, and I think Vanuatu still do very well. Unfortunately,
we-
next time we get 2 Polynesians, including New Zealand, so I'm hoping for Vanuatu and possibly Bora Bora.
Vanuatu and
Door,
JFD
guys.
There is something I kind of want to mention. Australia having a lead over Murray is most likely going to happen, and if that happens, that means we are probably going to have a top 10 Civ that returned from Mark 2.1.
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't know
that's
how
what
I
it's
feel
best
about that.
Well,
I mean, we gave the Murray the best possible shot, and they fucked it.
Mm-hmm. It's
No.
sad.
Maybe we didn't. I think the Murray would have done better if Australia were in Perth.
They would have done better. The issue with the Murray is that they keep getting cut off. Like in every single test where Australia settled that second city of theirs in that one mountain pass, they beat the Murray. That's why I have Australia ranked really high right now. It's because the Murrays just get stomped if they are cut off from the rest of the continent. But if Australia was all the way over in Perth, that wouldn't have happened. Murray would have been able to eat up half the continent for breakfast and actually get the good half, whereas Australia would have been confined to just a bunch of Kimberley-like desert. It would have been no contest going to Murray. The way the Murray are right now, they're toast.
I will say about ranking Australia, I think I've probably got them ranked a little lower than a lot of other people. And there's kind of two reasons for that. Number one is that I still don't believe an Australian Civ can ever win the CBR, full stop. I think if Australia in Mark II couldn't do it, no one can. And Australia
I disagree. I think
really fucks up any attempts to get onto any continent.
I disagree for a couple of reasons, but I'll let you finish.
The second thing, which is a bigger thing, is that back in Mark II, Australia's the most competent actual Civ, in my opinion, the most competent AI near Australia was the Philippines. And the Philippines got demolished really early on by kind of happenstance. They just became the fucking
they got
punching bag of
by
the region.
They got killed by Champa, Vietnam, Australia, and I think one of the Chinas also sent you.
Japan.
And the Maori were arguably okay too, but I think honestly, once the Philippines had gone, Australia just had no naval rivals.
Indonesia takes one city, everyone else, you're dead, boy.
They just swept Oceania from then, and I don't think Bob Hawke's going to be able to do the same thing for two reasons. Number one, I don't believe Bob Hawke has as much of a naval focus as Parks, but even then, I just think that Sulu, New Zealand, possibly Tonga, and possibly even Tonga and Canton are just going to have hardier and sturdier sea walls, essentially, to break through. I do think Australia now will very likely unite the continent, and will probably do so quite quickly. But I can't justify putting them in the top 10 just yet, because I don't think that'll be enough for them to.
I agree with you on the idea. I agree on the idea of Hawke having a lower naval bias than Parks. That's like guaranteed. But Hawke, still does have a fairly good naval bias, and that's the thing. They have a paratrooper UU, as been said in chat. They will probably have the best chance of any Australia of making a land invasion.
That's if they're alive by.
There's no way Australia. I guarantee Australia.
You can't conquer Australia until you've got basically like Brazil level carpeting. It's just not something you can do from the outside. I mean, no other Civ even had a chance in Mark II, or for that matter, Mark I. Australia pretty much had no contest because it's an island fortress. So,
true.
I'd say having that paratrooper
I would say
huge advantage.
Paratroopers alone don't win you the game either.
No, but these are
had shit tons of paratroopers.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say it's a unique paratrooper, remember, not a unique XCOM. It's XCOMs that are lethal. Paratrooper carpets are good.
XCOMs have the 25 tile drop.
Paratroopers are great, but they're not going to win you the game, especially not when the nearest tiles to airdrop into is places like the jungles and the mountains and hills of kind of South Asia and Southeast Asia.
However, you also have to remember that this is a paratrooper with a science bonus. This is a Civ that loves science, so we could be seeing Hawke get these before Civs near him have good defenses and being able to take advantage of it. And if Hawke does get Future Worlds first, and this is Future Worlds version 6, where I think the Nexus can cross water, I'm not sure on that, but there are some upgrade units that you can just
tested it.
Yeah, but they can just demolish if they get Future Worlds before anyone else.
Well, we're some way off that, so let's not.
I have one thing to say. I think everyone is massively overrating Sulu. Obviously, people are appropriately rating Papua and Murray. I don't see, aside from New Zealand, potentially, I don't see any way Australia can not win Oceania. I think at this point it's destined. I don't see good out of Sulu.
I'm surprised.
Sulu and New Zealand. Okay, I'll give it to Sulu maybe. Sulu could maybe hold the coast and do something cool. New Zealand could maybe hold the coast and do something cool. I'm putting the odds at like 80% chance Oceania is Australian by part 50.
Oh, no, not by part 50. I disagree. But anyway, we'll see.
We actually don't know the rate of which parts are
back.
moving, so...
Yeah, I mean, we had 30, now we have 19 turns. The next one, by logic, should be like 7.5.
15? No, I don't do that.
10 is the minimum, I know that.
Oh, okay.
We could scale it up if it's really boring, like if it's just 10 turns of nothing.
Like,
We're not
severe
gonna
mean
do
grinder,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they do happen, those little lulls. I remember in Mark 2 there was a few bits where it was like, we're 5 turns later now. Just occasionally, just...
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also, so the last Civ we have to cover, we missed Tonga time, but
We don't have to
the
cover
other side of
Tonga.
Heaven... The other side of Heaven 2 got like not super bad reviews. It's on 7 out of 10 on
Is the film
IMDb.
out? Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
really.
got 3 out of 5 stars on most movie critic sites. I mean, if anything, I think that's all we need to say about Tonga. Their movie is doing great.
How is it doing at the box office? Anyone
I don't think it's huge sale. I mean, they lost $2.5 million on the first one, which I'm surprised they made a sequel. I
Yeah,
assume it's being funded entirely by the Let's have a look at box office.
Mormons.
Yeah, it's being funded by the Latter-day Saints.
Clearly it's someone's passion project. Anyway, let's play a game called Here's How Shangdas Can Still Win.
Yeah, first things first. They build a military. They go on, and if they have any policy slots left, they invade Bati. They can't look forward settle. Yeah.
But
Then they get two cities up.
Hang on. No, I'm going to actually disagree with you right out of the bat. Because I think their first thing should obviously be making peace with the Chin. They don't need to make peace with the Chin right now. That's
true.
But I think actually they should be making enough units to defend themselves and then settlers, because they still have enough room below them to secure a decent core. And as a human, plain tall, you don't really need a core of more than 3 good cities, and there's easily enough room for that. And then I think they start focusing on military, because the thing is, Bahrain isn't getting strong anytime soon.
If Bahrain is taken, all the other civs around them will get angry, and that's not good for what would be effectively a turn 1 empire right now.
Oh, that's
So
that's
what
not
I would
good.
do
That's not good.
is I would get a couple of military units, but then I would build like 3 settlers as quickly as I can, and I would settle along the edge of the mountains, up in all the hills and forests, because it's good production and it's hard to capture those cities. So then I would use those to build more units, and then I would try to take back my capital, maybe in a coalition with the Kamug Mongols or Qing.
The great thing about taking back the capital as well is obviously you trigger your UA bonus, and the Shah are what I would call a snowball civ. They do better as they go on. They just get better and better. So I'd also be focusing on maybe trying to get culture up and finish those policy trees as quickly as you. But are there any easy capitals nearby to take as well? Because I think
No.
what I was going to say
Canton.
was that's exactly what I was
Canton,
gonna say.
potentially.
I was going to say Rush Canton.
Yeah, Canton
very easy.
don't usually build a large military, so yeah, you could probably get them.
That
I'd
is
say Rush-
after you establish a core. Going after them too early could just lead to Gyeonggi
fully
getting
agreed. Fully agreed.
absolutely rolled over.
Well, Gyeonggi doesn't have enough production to even build a military.
And there's no way that you can even turtle the city properly with its terrain.
No, not at all.
You'd have to build out an empire. Sometimes triggering a neighbor that can just run toward a choke point will be enough.
Yeah.
So we were talking about box office briefly for Other Side of Heaven 2. Where do you think it is?
Like in the rankings?
Yeah,
In the US or in
I think it's US.
12th.
21st.
Jesus.
Behind.
Well, we know where we're rating them. Come on,
behind-
Chase PR.
Right?
Yeah. So there's behind Ma, The Dead Don't Die, Pavarotti, and Dark Phoenix, which is somehow still pulling like the $101 million in a weekend. It's made
You mean
425,000. It's made
Marvel
425,000 on opening weekend.
That's not great.
Comparatively, yesterday has made 17 million.
Yeah, but genuinely fuck that film for everything it's worth.
Oh, agreed. I mean, I like the
Which film?
The concept
Dark Phoenix
is
or
interesting.
Yesterday?
No, yesterday. I don't know shit about Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix is like, they've just killed the X-Men.
I couldn't give less of a shit about Marvel if I tried. I just don't care.
Fair. Wait,
Yeah.
that's a supporting emote
No,
right
Dark
there.
Beatles.
Phoenix-
I care about the Beatles.
Dark Phoenix, as far as I know, seems to be following the plotline of the actual Dark Phoenix storyline from the comic books, which I appreciate because that's like the only thing that ever
I
made
agree.
Jean Grey interesting to me.
I also
I agree,
really
but
like
Jean Grey
Sophie
isn't that
Turner.
interesting.
TBH. Sophie Turner
So,
is
did
just
you
a great
guys
actor.
see yesterday? I'm gonna go see it on Thursday. Was it bad?
I haven't seen it. I just fucking hate the concept and
I don't like the
everything
Beatles.
about it. The thing is, the whole concept is that the Beatles, a guy wakes up in a world where the Beatles never existed, but he
So he
remembers all
used
the
their
Beatles songs, so he plays them and he becomes the world's most famous songwriter. And it's set in 2019. And number one, despite the fact the Beatles never existed, all of music just continued the exact same way, which is horseshit. Beatles were one of the most influential bands of all time. But secondly, like it's stuff like
I'm sure
because he
there'll
writes
be,
Hey
like,
Jude, he's now the most famous and popular and best-selling musician in the world, and he's headlining Glastonbury. Like, no, that music just demonstrably isn't popular now. No one would give a shit.
Oh, no. From what I've seen from the trailer, is that it seems like the Beatles. It's not that they never existed, because they cut there's like a teaser scene where like the two living Beatles members, can't remember which ones they are. It's Ringo and someone else.
Paul.
Is it Paul?
Yeah,
Is it Paul?
Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Ringo and Paul come out and they're all like, "We actually wrote those songs," but I don't know about that. I just saw that like
Weird.
possibility.
Yeah,
in the
no,
trailer.
that wasn't.
So it's not
the
like
trailer.
they didn't exist. It's like, imagine Mao Zedong did all the things that happened, and now we're in the present day, and then all of a sudden, everybody's memory about Mao Zedong's existence and anything around Mao Zedong is just a black hole in their mind.
Oh, so
like
everyone
they
else has
don't know
forgotten
what
about the
that is.
Beatles, but Paul and Ringo still exist. And they're like, hang on a sec, why has everyone forgotten about the Beatles except for us and two in this?
Yeah,
Okay, that
I don't know,
justifies, I guess, the
but also
I
it's like
just want to
but it-
see the movie. It looks.
it
there's
doesn't
also the
justify
thing
the
of,
Hey
like,
Jude problem,
yeah,
which is the problem.
and also
that
like
people just
Coke
wouldn't give a
doesn't-
shit about him. No one would give a shit about your music if you were writing that in 2019. Like, I know plenty
Yeah.
of people who write songs that sound like Hey Jude, but it doesn't matter because that's not what sells.
No, your
Anyway,
song needs
all
to
of
be
that aside-
weird cross-genre things with lots of incoherent shouting and
There you go.
confusing
Perfect.
lyrics.
Ed
All of that
Sheeran
aside-
basically writes the same kind of music, and
He
he's
doesn't.
very
They're
popular.
different. They're so different. Look at Ed
Well,
Sheeran's
yeah,
biggest
like,
hits.
he's
The
got more
Beatles are actually
lyrics
good.
and
Ed
stuff,
Sheeran
but
shit.
now if you take
Shape of You. Shape of You is basically a
Catchy.
Rihanna song. He had like a few acoustic ballads, and like acoustic, shitty white guy guitar singer-songwriter ballads will always go far. Like, but that's
Yeah.
not what the Beatles were. The Beatles were just like very 60s pop for their biggest hits, which is
Yeah, and they just
of course
the
it's
Beatles
not.
Anyway,
did well because
there's
they were experimental for the time. They wrote a lot of random.
Okay, anyway.
But I will say, before we move on from yesterday, the opening scene is like a gag. It's in the trailer, at least. The opening scene in the trailer, he's like, this is the biggest set of my life, and he's playing a tent at Latitude, and then it pans round, and it's like a children's theatre tent. I've played that tent. That is genuinely true. It is the exact
Wow.
same tent with the hay bales and everything. I was in
Whoa.
the company. That's my claim to fame.
Anyway,
But
here's
anyway.
Wonderful.
So that's how he'd win a Shang, and that's our
Anyway,
film we've not seen.
It's Tonga time.
Yeah, we missed
What are your
Tonga time.
predictions? Predictions for part 3, guys.
Isn't Tonga time like 28 after?
No,
Or
it's
it's like
36
30.
past. It's 36 past 7.
36.
Yeah,
38
it's not
past.
actually Tonga time.
So here's how we can kill 22 minutes.
Has anyone seen any other films? What do you think of Detective
no,
Pikachu?
I'm probably gonna go
I
see
haven't seen
Spider-Man
Pikachu.
soon with my girlfriend.
Oh, Mysterio is it? Mysterio, I love
The subtitle
Mysterio.
for that film is so. Spider-Man. Just I've left home a bit.
Either way, I'm for the most part completely out of things to say. As much as I do want to wait for the hashtag
Yeah,
Tonga
if we're
time.
done with
Tonga time
yeah,
is.
no, I'm not waiting. We already missed Tonga time.
I couldn't.
It was like an hour and a half ago.
All right, I couldn't give a shit.
Talking about
What are your
Beatles songs,
predictions for part
actually.
3?
Oh,
Well, anyway, I don't have anything to contribute to that, so I'm gonna bow out.
I've got a couple of
done talking about
predictions if you
Civ.
guys want to hear them.
yeah.
Oh, predictions? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Predictions. Sulu. I see them, if they don't settle Indonesia, they'll be settling Southeast Asia next. I don't think they'll be
Sulu,
settling Oh,
So you're
yeah,
Sulu,
Cloudberg, you actually have insight into the next part.
No,
He's
Cloudberg
laughing
doesn't.
because obviously
don't.
I'm wrong. I
Sulu,
also...
Sulu. But hang on, your prediction, J-Man. Am I getting this right? Was that if Sulu don't settle Indonesia, they'll settle Southeast Asia? So what your prediction was is if Sulu settle, they will settle a city near.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what he meant.
Listen, man, there's not too much to like predict here other than a crazy war might happen. I do
And
think
he's head of the Power
Oman
Rangers.
I do think because Oman have been building up a military because they're at war with India technically, they will go to war with the Seljuk Turks next.
They're already
They
at
are
war with
all
the Celtics.
Celtics.
Oh, god damn it. Listen, man. It's been a while since the part was released. I think they will take that city that is in Kuwait. How about...
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair prediction.
They already took the city near.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
No, they didn't. It's Italy. and
I
it's
know,
Ray,
I know.
Sorry.
I
Has
know.
anyone got any hot? I want some hot predictions, guys. I want some.
I think I
Shikoku
already
take,
draw
so
some.
Shikoku take the Korean capital.
Ooh, I
Even
like
that's
it.
medium. If I was still moderating the predictions thread, I would put that as a medium. I would make the person change it to
Libya
medium.
snipes Algiers.
That's better. I like that. That's
Songhai declare war on Australia.
That's a mild boy.
if someone's
The
if someone
parents
made that
shouldn't go to
prediction,
war.
We already know that's gonna happen.
that's some real insider info shit there.
You
Chicago.
I have a wild prediction. I think the matey will lose 2 cities.
Okay,
To
I have
whom?
a.
I don't want to say.
It doesn't matter. I have a very wild
To the
prediction.
U-Peak?
New Zealand eliminates the Murray.
Oh, juicy.
Yes, that's
Oh, I
quality meat.
I missed
just
it. What did
taste
he...
that spice. Yeah, no, but genuinely.
Yeah, Aaron, I saw that by the way. Aaron says Venice taken HRV.
Yeah, no, I've seen a few people say that. Cologne
That's
is quite
spicy, but I don't
vacant,
believe...
actually. Cologne isn't that easily defendable and doesn't have any units nearby. Also, it is settled perfectly on Paris, just for anyone who's interested in those kind of things. Yeah, it's potential, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think whatchamacallit, the one that I'm gonna always put as my mild one is you peak settle a city in Asia. Because I'm still waiting for it.
Honestly, the longer it goes on, the spicier that one gets.
Yeah.
That one
It'll be like
Oh,
part 100. In part 100, you pick our city-state, and like all the land was settled a long time ago. A city in Kamchatka gets nuked off the map. Spicy prediction: you pick settles in Asia.
You get 100 points for that.
Here's one. Benin declare war on Songhai and take 2 cities.
That's
Yeah.
mild. I think.
I don't think that's mild
Benin,
at all.
I think they're right next to each other. They've got a military, and they're known for being like a fairly militaristic civ.
Well, the number being a defensive civ, really. That's the.
Yeah. Here's one then. Here's one. Beta Israel use their like 3rd largest on the cylinder.
Oh,
That
that's
way.
spicy.
Okay. My
you'll-
spicy.
Benin eliminate Nubia. So
Oh.
Beta Israel eliminate Nubia.
Oh, right.
I got a spicy boy.
hit us.
Korea, instead of actually forming an army to defend the capital, sends a settler off. Watching the capital fall, the city will settle adjacent to Yupik.
Korea settles Yupik. Korea gets eliminated by Yupik in part 10.
No, Korea eliminates Yupik in part 10.
Yeah,
With
come on.
one city, yeah.
Just the one city.
One trireme and 10 archers.
Do you
have a
think
spicy
the
prediction.
Shang will survive?
Yes.
I think they will survive the next part.
I think
Okay,
I
that's
don't
what
think
I'm
they're
thinking,
going
Spicy
out
Boy.
this early. I'd be very surprised if they died this early.
Yeah,
Trunks
I
was not
think
threatened by
I
China
think
in
there's
the
a strong
last
chance Shang will be 61 in the power rankings. Because let's be real, like it's not supposed to say they're last in the power rankings, is it?
part. They're last in the power rankings, guys.
Yeah, they're last in the power rankings. They're going to be
I don't know about
last
you,
for at least.
Bob Boys,
They're going to be last
last
for the next 5 parts at least.
But yeah,
Fair.
you think they will still?
Yeah,
last.
without dying, certainly.
I don't know. The thing is, the Qin weren't on the verge of taking Chongqi. There was no units there anymore. The war has petered out to a stalemate. But that doesn't mean they couldn't build
wouldn't
more.
call this a
It doesn't mean
stalemate.
that the Canton couldn't declare war. There's all sorts of things that could happen. I think they'll survive part 3, but at this point, I wouldn't want to call part 4.
I have
New
I
Zealand
have a
settled
spicy one for
Tanzania.
you. If you want a spicy one.
New Zealand, that's mild. We don't.
Oh, go on. It was
Anyone
so
here?
spicy we had to kick him from the Discord call.
Who do we kick?
No, J-Man's back. J-Man, what's his prediction?
I did have a prediction. All of the Métis cities will be taken except for Port Gary, and once that happens, the Civ will be replaced by Gary Oak, and then they'll forever be number 1 in the ranking.
That's a mile. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, Ford, Gary.
If
I actually-
Orion
that-
does take over from this part, you don't know what happened.
As believable as that is, J-Man, it's actually Fort Gary, not Port Gary, so I think that's kind of wrong.
I think
Yeah.
if
My
any
bad.
Civ is going to replace another Civ, it's going to be the Iroquois getting replaced by our boy, Millard Fillmore.
Yeah.
Millard.
Doubt.
He's
No, I think the suggestion that Scissor made for the Power Rankers Civ in CBRBR, which is starting again soon, just plug that, was once every turn, 30 turns, it has a chance. So like Uruguay's one, has a chance to just replace the AI and the bonuses with Gary Oak for 10 turns.
Gary Oak's AI isn't what makes him so good, for the record.
It's just the fact that Blastoise can like capture cities in the ancient era by itself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's UA.
one hit. Yep. I did a
Anyway,
match against the hyper powerful Civ that I made, and Gary Oak won every time.
Yeah, no, the only ones I can see potentially beating Gary Oak are the Mass Effect Reapers, and that other one.
There's the Valkyries under Kyle.
Uruguay. Valkyries are good, but I think Reapers beat Valkyries. I think Uruguay beat both
Yeah,
of them. in a one.
no. Valkyries are depending on the version because there's like multiple XML files.
Yeah, there
What
are.
about Gaben?
That's the one that I actually used to start modding. Fun fact.
Gaben.
If Uruguay, it's a fun
Just to
fact.
mess
if
around with.
Uruguay, we've not done any tests for Uruguay going forward to the modern era yet. But if Uruguay do hit the modern era, their AI is actually capable of delving into the other mods' codes and reprogramming their code to make all their uniques fail and set all their expansion biases to 0. So
Yeah, no,
Uruguay the
what-
only Civ that
What
can-
actually happens is if they get to the future era and they research artificial intelligence, they get replaced by Filthy Rebel playing as a human.
Filthy Rebel doesn't get a choice; he just gets beamed in.
He gets plugged in.
He just gets an alert on his computer that's like someone's playing with Uruguay, and he's like, "Oh, for sake."
Here we go again.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Here we go again.
Does that make CBRX an isekai?
Does it make it what?
That's a good spot to end it for here.
One last thing. If any of you, including the people in the chat, but you guys haven't said anything so far, are interested in helping the new PR modding team on any projects that we might be working on, we're currently considering...
Hezbollah.
Yeah, listen, if it's a Lebanese Civ headed by someone who funded Hezbollah, then Hezbollah is a natural, unique unit. But anyway,
This is where I tell you that J-Man in this chat has said Hezbollah aren't that bad.
fuck off. Anyway,
Guys,
Maybe we
this has
shouldn't
been
be
a great
doing Lebanon.
podcast.
What's wrong with Hezbollah?
And let's end it on a high note.
all right. To be in all seriousness, if any of you are interested in working on a mod or something new or pitching something to us, feel free to DM me, ask for an invite, and we can set something up. And if you have any experience in making art, maybe some Lua coding, even XML or SQL, we'd love to have you on board, and we'd love to give you credit in making a mod. Though if you can't, that's all good too. Just keep supporting us.
We're going to finish this, though, with a hot take from Rion Monteros, who is recording the game. Rion, go on.
The hot take for you this week is the part comes out at 7 Eastern instead of 8.
Oh God, spoiling. That's
Whoa.
spicy.
Ooh, that's actually true. If anyone is wondering.
Yeah, that is genuinely that's
That is the hottest take.
Thank you,
Jesus,
Rion.
Rion, you're accusing me of leaks. Come on, dude.
I mean,
Thank
go
you,
on.
Rion.
Shake.
Thank you to everyone who's been listening. This has been the PR.
Wait, guys, we're under 3 hours. What are we doing?
Sorry for not spinning it out over 5 hours again, guys. But we're gonna go to bed. So
Our YouTube
Yeah.
Well,
analytics,
the bed
thank
has a
you.
tendency to allow for good sleep, depending on the
I
bed.
know.
Although, according to Herbs, a couch is better early on. So, my recommendation is you start with the couch, you move to the bed.
Yeah, no, especially if you're going to run the great tiredness strat, you want to get that couch up.
I'll
Yeah.
probably stick with the bed, guys.
Life is a civ, folks.
Yeah, life
And we're
is
just
goodbye.
figuring out how to press next turn.
Uruguay have already got there.
It's
Ah,
goodbye
true.
from me.
Not
Anyway.
all of the Uruguay.
Everyone say goodbye. I'm gonna end the stream.
Goodbye, I'm gonna end the stream.
Wish me luck with my driving.
No.
Right, and remember to vote for Somalia for season 2.
Agreed.